This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio with Stuart Cameron.
Welcome to Rugby Radio, and today we've got plenty of action for you as we cover all three divisions in the top flight of Scottish Club Rugby. And straight away, let's go down to Poynder Park for the Premiership game between KELSO and SELKIRK. We'll have live commentary for you from 3 o'clock from David Ferguson and Scott Tomlinson. We can join David now. First of all, what are the conditions like?
It's a bit overcast, grey day, a bit of a wind out on the park, and at the moment, although we know that it can always be a bit confusing the way by following the wind, the flags around the ground, but at the moment the flag that flies, a sort of saltire flag that flies above the KELSO Rugby Club changing rooms, is blowing towards the town, which suggests that the wind is blowing left to right as we look out from the main stand, sort of up the park towards the club rooms, and we'll see whether that has an influence in the game. But of course there is that forecast of rain coming in, a rainstorm coming in later on, so let's hope that doesn't quite reach us before 5 o'clock.
Now, of course, KELSO have won both their derbies at home against Hawick and Melrose, so they're looking for a bit of a hat-trick today against SELKIRK.
Yeah, they are, that's right. I mean, the border derbies, they love them down here. The crowd, you always get a good crowd here at Poynder Park for the border derbies. And yeah, as you say, KELSO down here this season, they've beaten Hawick 14-10 and they've beaten Melrose 14-8. Here, they lost away on the road to GHA 41-37. So, not a bad start for KELSO, 2 out of 3. I'm sure they would like to have been better, but SELKIRK still looking for their first win. Their closest result came against Hawick themselves when they were down at Mansfield Park. They lost that game 18-17 with a couple of late tries that brought them close. Last week was a bizarre one for SELKIRK, 5 tries in the first half, 29-7 up at half time. You thought the first win was coming there at Philip Hawke, but then GHA came back at them and won 40 points to 36. So they'll be looking to put that right today and get that first win on the board. Do you have a good record, Stuart, against KELSO? They've won 3 out of the last 4 matches between the two teams, and they've won down here, funnily enough, in the last 2 seasons. So they've been close. They won 22-12 against KELSO last season down here last September, and the season before they won 21-19. So for SELKIRK, I think they know they can win down here. I think there's a number of players in that team today who experienced those games, and I don't think they'll be scared of coming down here. And I think speaking to the KELSO boys before, they have been speaking at both camps, and KELSO players are expecting that SELKIRK will be absolutely desperate, with the words of some of the players, to win here today. So I think they know what's coming in this border derby.
Well, as you said, you spoke with both coaches. Well, SELKIRK's Michael Jaffrey, part of the coaching team, that's coming up shortly. But first, a word or two with KELSO co-head coach, that's Nicky Walker.
Nicky, looking forward to this, another border derby. There have been a few of them started this season, but SELKIRK, what do you expect from SELKIRK this afternoon?
I think there's some backs against the wall, aren't they? So they've not had a win yet. So I think they're fighting for every point they can get. I mean, they're obviously feeling that they'll be in a sort of basement battle a little bit already. But I think they're better than that, to be honest. And I think they showed that last year. Their quality side getting into playoffs. So they'll be looking to bounce back, and SELKIRK beat us twice last year with convincing performances, and I'd expect that sort of performance today. So we're well aware of, even though SELKIRK are not where they want to be this season and sitting at the bottom of the table, but they'll be here looking for a win, and we'll have to put in a really good defensive performance to withstand their attack.
And the border derbies have been good for you so far. You beat Hawick in the first game here. You lost narrowly away to GHA 41-37 through in Glasgow, and they look a bit of a surprise packet at the moment this season. And then you beat Melrose here 14-8, but they've been very close games, those border derbies. What's been the secret to winning those?
Well, first of all, winning at home, playing at home. I think we tend to play really well here. We're well supported, and the boys get really excited about playing at home. And hopefully we'll see that again today. And I mean, obviously we're not playing away, but that's something that we need to sort of look at, and how we perform away from home, especially how we start and build confidence and get ourselves into games. Because playing away from home, the games have been probably lost early on the game, just in terms of how we started. So I'm expecting how we have been playing at home, but there's been changes this week. We've got players missing. We'll lose the likes of Jack Utterson and Isaac Coates from last week. So the challenge is for those guys to come in and step up and put in a performance which merits them being in the team, and obviously merits them being in the team in the future as well. So they've got an opportunity to state their claim for the jersey, and hopefully they take it.
And Dan Gamble has been looking good this season. He's looking fit, and the player we know he is. He played well last week. Gregor Law, man of the match as well last week. You've lost both of those guys away on holiday, is that right?
Yeah, both on holiday, yeah.
So how you say it's chances for others, but Gregor particularly looks like he's found his feet here at Kelso.
Gregor's been outstanding, yeah, he's played really, really well. Outstanding last week. He's fit, he's working hard, his consistency in training is showing in these performances on a Saturday as well. So yeah, he's going to be a big miss, but as I said, guys coming in today such as Nick Barnes and Ewan Thompson, who played last week and took his opportunity, and that's why he's back in again today. Billy McNeil's back in, so those guys can come in. And I've just said to the boys, like, listen, it's obvious we are missing players. We've not got Isaac from last week. We've not got Jack Utterson, who are really good players, pros coming down. We're missing Gregor, who's a leader. We're missing Dan Gamble, who's our co-captain as well. But there's a real opportunity for us, and I think that's actually where you end up in the league is down to your squad depth, not because of those guys. Sometimes it can be a little bit false winning a game with those pros coming in, but actually this is an honest squad where we're actually going to see this is what Kelso is today. This is where we are as a squad. We've got guys in the second team pushing for places as well, and that's where we want to be. So it's a good opportunity for those young guys coming in.
Joined by Michael Jaffrey. Michael, it's been a difficult start to the season for Selkirk. Are you seeing shoots of positivity that you're hoping they can bring you to a win today?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've improved in every game. I suppose it's just pulling it all together. We've improved in different aspects of the game each week, but it's just trying to pull it together and get that performance. I mean, I feel quite frustrated for the guys because they're working really hard. We've identified a lot of things that we need to get better at, and like I say, I think that it's just a case of us trying to put it all together for that one performance. So yeah, I'm optimistic. We've worked really hard. We've got a good squad. So yeah, it's just not quite firing yet.
And you've got a few changes in the team there. A few new players that have come in. Maurice Clementson at 10, of course, and that's a key position. Controlling a lot of what happens. I imagine it'll have taken him a little bit of time just to find his feet.
Yeah, I mean, he's picked up things really well. There is a transition. With Aaron's heading off to Australia in a couple of weeks. So it's been a tough, steep learning curve for Maurice since he's got here. But you can see within him he's a player. He has a confidence about him, and he's got all the sort of skills and attributes. And it's just a case of him trying to fit in and learning our structures, our plays, and he, like I say, I think he's adapted really well so far, and I'm hoping that with each game he'll just get better and better. So yeah, he's a nice lad. He's pretty quiet, but he's fitted in well with the group.
Makes a change for a 10. Pretty quiet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Were they like that when you played, Jeff? Do you remember?
Not at all.
No. So in terms of recent weeks, I mean, you had a difficult first week against Watsonians. You lost 48-14 there at home, but you came back strongly late on against Hawick. You lost that game 18-17 down at Mansfield Park, and you were leading last week 29-7 at half time, 5 tries in the first half. You must have thought, this is it.
Yeah, we did. I mean, and I think that was maybe, I wouldn't like to say that was our downfall, but I think that 29-7 up at half time, it was a strong wind. I don't think sort of people watching it really appreciated, and there was a lot of points with that wind, and we were kind of aware of that. However, I think we probably didn't manage playing into the wind as well as we should have. We gave the ball back to GHA far too early, and we didn't keep enough possession in hand for long enough. And when we did that latterly in the game, we came right back into it. And that's one of the things that's went really well. We've showed a lot of resilience. We've showed a lot of character in games, at Hawick and against GHA, where we've stayed in the fight. We've been there right to the end, and we could have snatched the win back last week, but we just sort of, we fell short a wee bit. Maybe a bit of decision making could be something that we could improve on.
That's Michael Jaffrey, part of the coaching team at Selkirk. Before him, the thoughts of KELSO co-head coach Nicky Walker. Well, let's have a look at another big game today in the Premiership. A big clash between third-place Watsonians and leaders Ayr. Hugh Brown covering that one for us today. And Hugh, Watsonians hurting from their first defeat last week at Heriot's, which of course you saw.
I did indeed, Stuart, and what a close game it was, with Heriot stealing the win in the dying seconds by 19 points to 17 to inflict the first defeat of the season on Watsonians. Back on home turf today, Watsons will want to bounce back, but the challenge doesn't come any harder than top-of-the-table Ayr. And let's not forget the last time these sides met was in the Premiership playoff final at Millbrae in April, when the Alloway side were crowned champions with a thumping 41-12 victory. As for Ayr, they were run close at home by Curry last week, only scraping a win by 3 points, 43-40. But part of Ayer's success lies in the strength of their squad, and that means no one is guaranteed a starting spot. In team news, Watsonians are without 3 of their top players, Dom Coates, Loman McPherson and, crucially, the league's top try scorer, Daniel Kelly. So Harry Clark, Stu Allison and Harry Fisher all come into the starting 15. They've also lost Finlay Ronnie from the second row through illness, so Andrew McInnes takes his place. Campbell Wilson is on the bench and is likely to make his first appearance this season. For Ayr, Robbie Orr returns at fullback, so Luca Bardelli reverts to the wing, and they're bolstered by the Glasgow Warriors academy player Brent Jackson, who wears the scrum half jersey. One of the league's most dependable performers, Ed Bloodworth, returns alongside Rory Jackson in the second row, whilst Calvin Henderson and Tim Brown are on the bench, replaced by Rod Tanner and Lewis McNamara. The home side's loss of 3 key men may make a huge difference to the final outcome, but it was always going to be tough against the Goliath that is Ayr. Mind you, David did beat Goliath. Not today, I don't think, though. I'm taking Ayr to stay in pole position with another win. Here at Mireside, it's Watsonians versus Ayr.
And earlier, Hugh spoke to Ayr head coach Grant Anderson, but first, part of the Watsonians coaching team, Finn Gillis.
Finn, you had a dreadfully unlucky match last Saturday, just losing in the very last play of the game against Heriot's.
I don't think it was dreadfully unlucky. I think we might have been more dreadful than dreadfully unlucky. Fair play to Heriot's. We were obviously really disappointed, but it was one of those weird ones where we didn't deserve to win. And if we did, we probably papered over some cracks that don't want to be papered over. So it's probably, no, I'm not saying it's never a good thing to get beat, but yeah, it made us look in depth at how we played last week.
I watched that one last week at Goldenacre, and I mean, some of the young boys for both teams were playing out their skins, weren't they? They
were, and we are. The youngsters have been brilliant. They have genuinely been brilliant. This will be a different challenge today. I would describe Ayr as a team of men. So the under 18 team that we've been fielding, or half an under 18 team up to this point, will have a different challenge today. It's really exciting for them. It's exciting for us to see how they get on. We've talked this week like we are there's going to be difficult points in the season with a young group of guys when they face challenges they've not faced before, and how they react to that. So today will be a nice learning lesson for us.
And unfortunately, without 3 of your top players, including the league's top scorer Daniel Kelly, that's going to make it tougher.
Of course, yes. It's going to make it tougher. We've got Stu Allison at 13 though, so who knows? He could be a secret weapon for us. We are not going to moan about injuries. Everyone has injuries. We could all, what we're going to do, tell the saddest story and they get extra points? Nah, we appreciate we've got lots of injuries. Everyone's got injuries, so yes, it is tough, but we are okay with that.
And you're defending that beautiful Bill McLaren trophy, aren't you?
We sure are. We haven't talked about it this week. It may have been whispered quietly, but we haven't done a lot of talking about it. But yeah, we're really proud to have that, and we're really chuffed to get it back at the end of last year. So we will not be giving it up easily, but I'm sure Ayr have talked about it this week because they do also like having it.
Grant, you got a bit of a fright last week against Curry, just scraping through 43-40.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it a fright. Like I said earlier, earlier on in the week, we've gifted them 21, arguably 28 points. So I probably looked through a different lens in that I'm delighted that my boys came through that and didn't, because a lesser team would have just struggled to cope with Curry, and when they get going, it's like a run, try to capture a runaway train. So I was pleased with the victory in quite difficult circumstances, let's say.
Keeps you top of the table, of course, and unbeaten as well. Today against Watsonians, interesting one, because of course the last time the two teams met was the final at Millbrae when you absolutely thumped them. Do you think today is going to be different?
Listen, we'll approach it like any other game. You know, we've done our homework on what they've been doing previously. They've been going well. I'm sure, you know, their boys will have them set up. If they've watched us from last week, it's probably showing them a different side of us that isn't really that common. So I don't know how valuable that homework will have been for them, but we'll just approach it like any other game. We've got targets we want to hit. I'm looking for a few big performances from some key individuals that's maybe been missing. That's maybe been a wee bit critical, but for what we expect as a group, I think some of the boys would hold their hand up and say they've not quite hit their straps yet. So we're looking to finish off the block of 5 games strongly.
One of the things I've said in my preview is that Ayr have a really strong squad and a big squad, so you can afford to rotate them, can't you? So not everybody's guaranteed a starting spot.
Absolutely not. Nobody is guaranteed a starting spot. And even 2 weeks ago, I actually worked with Blair. We're good pals, and I was considering not including him because I thought his groin was a wee bit tight, and he's over. We actually worked together, so he's stretching his groin off in front of my desk, telling me he's fine. So that's what I want. I want boys to want to play for their team. Nobody's going to be handed a jersey if they're not putting their hand up, demonstrating what they need to be doing in training. So we've had a few changes this week, and that's as a result of training. Boys absolutely killing each other to get in the starting 15. Our squad isn't as big as it was last year, so we actually lost 7, 8, 9 players who are now littered across Nat 1 and different things like that. So it's probably a more settled group is what I would say there, but certainly the boys know if they're not performing, then they're not going to be in the lineup.
I know you're concentrating on Ayr, but one of the things that must interest you is GHA's progress, and if you lose today and they win, they'd go above you.
Listen, I've got no interest in GHA apart from the former Ayr players that are playing there. They've got Boggy in the midfield today, so listen, we just keep to ourselves. I don't want to sound ignorant. I've got no interest in the rest of the league. I just want to know if we're doing things the way we should be doing, we'll be where we want to be.
And in a nutshell, can you get 5 wins out of 5?
That's the plan. I'm not going to say yes or no. That's the plan. Like I said, we've got internal targets that we work to. So often we'll win a game, we'll maybe scored 55 points, and we're nowhere near where my targets need to be. So the mindset is always, if we hit these 6, 7, 8 targets, then we will blow a team away. So that's the plan.
There we are. Hugh Brown getting the latest news from both camps at Marside between Watsonians and Ayr. Well, another match in the Premiership today is at the Green Yards. Curry targeting revenge after Melrose did the double over them last season. Waiting for us there is Ian Hurd.
Melrose will no doubt be looking to get their campaign back on track after a run of 3 defeats. Curry, on the other hand, will be looking to keep up their good form that has seen them win their first 3 games, but then suffer a very close loss in a titanic struggle against Ayr last week. Last season, Melrose won both encounters between these teams, including what was described by many as a surprise victory at Poynder Park. In terms of team news, both clubs have made a number of changes from last week. For Melrose, Logan Kirk replaces the injured Ben McLean at hooker, while Thomas Brown and Will Ferry replace Elliot Ruthven and Rue Campbell in the forwards. In the backs, Finn Douglas moves back to fullback. Logan Carroll comes into the inside centre position, allowing Patrick Anderson to revert back to his more familiar position on the wing. Potential Premiership debuts could come from Sam Rainey, Adam Arkley, Heno Bow and Callum Henderson. As for Curry, they're able to name an unchanged backline, but injuries and unavailability mean a few changes in the pack. A reshuffle in the front row sees Chris Anderson move to loosehead, and he packs down with Thomas Jeffrey at hooker and Kieran Ramsey at tight head. In the boiler room, the experienced Rhys Davis moves up from the back row to partner Glasgow Academy prospect Dan Alcon, with Sam Cardozi replacing Davis at 6.
And earlier, Ian had a little chat with Scott White, the head coach or co-head coach of Melrose.
So Scott, a disappointing performance last week at Kelso. What's been the message to the players at training this week?
I think in terms of, we spoke about being brave all season, and we're probably brave physically, but then got it wrong because we try to take them on physical, and I think we lack just being that step deeper to give that instinct pass, if you like. And we look back on Tuesday, we actually created quite a lot of opportunities, but actually took the wrong options, if you know what I mean. So this week it's being a wee bit deeper and actually giving the extra pass. And I think certainly when you look at Heriots and Ayr at home, that's when we're at our most dangerous. So there's been a big focus on giving the extra pass today and actually going out there and playing some rugby. So hopefully we see a real kind of change in mindset from us this week and actually going out there and chucking the ball about.
Yeah, and it does seem to be that you've performed really well in your 2 home games, but the 2 away games have been a bit less of a performance. Is there anything that you can sort of nail that down to in any way?
If I knew that, we wouldn't have got beat. I mean, it's difficult, and I think And I think that goes back to, in terms of teams, no negative in terms of GHA or KELSO, and I don't mean this in a nasty way, but the teams that actually play rugby, we actually probably benefit from that more because it's expansive, it's wide and it's open. And that's up to us to try and find ways to win in a different way. And I mean, that is by being more physical, that's probably by, kicking your penalties. We didn't kick 15 kickable points last week, and you take the 5 penalties at the post, the results may be a different thing. So in this day and age things evolve, and we've got to find different ways to win. And we've came up short both times to a good GHA and a good KELSO team that played rugby in the right areas and kicked their points, and I think that's something that we can definitely learn from.
And the head coach of Curry, of course, is Mark Cairns.
Not sure whether to say well done or unlucky at Ayr last week. I appreciate winning games is what teams are all about, but do you look at it as a positive performance or a negative outcome?
Definitely positive performance, and both that are a negative outcome as well. So, we would like to have won that match, especially because we were in a position to do so at the end. But there's a lot of positivity we can take from that. Pushing Ayr all the way, scoring 40 points. Really pleased, but maybe come unstuck a little bit when they put their power game in, so being focused on that aspect this week. But obviously we're up against a different type of team in Melrose.
Yeah, and one other thing, obviously this week you've got a different surface, you're going to be playing on an artificial pitch. Does that change your pre-match planning? Does it change how you train? Does it change how you come your tactics for the game?
Yeah, we do like to play quick, so that surface will suit us. The weather conditions might dictate otherwise. It's going to be a bit windy today, a bit rainy, so the track can sometimes be a bit deceiving. We trained on our own 3G on Thursday, so we kind of prepared a little bit for it, and we do train on that regularly. So it doesn't really change what we're doing, and we think we've prepared properly for it.
Obviously you've had to make 2 or 3 changes in the pack this week. There's a bit of a shuffle in the front row. Experienced campaigner Rhys Davis has moved up to the second row. An unchanged back line, but is that going to change much for yourself, or is it pretty much like for like replacements?
In a way, having like an extra back row on the pitch, and with Rhys moving up into the second row, is good for the surface and the game we want to play, so that's a positive. Dan Halkin, who we've got from the Glasgow Warriors Academy, had a great game last week. Is really into the club, been really impressed with his attitude and coming into the club. So I think where we're at just now, we're happy with the squad, and I guess we'll see at the end of the day, but really happy with where we're at.
Well, wherever you look today, there are some great matchups going on in the Premiership and National 1 and National 2. And let's turn our attention, in fact, to matters in National 1, because a very interesting matchup is being played at Netherdale this afternoon. Another derby, Gala versus Jed Forest. I'm predicting a high-scoring game. I wonder if Sam Matthews agrees with me.
There's one thing I've learnt to predict, Stuart, and that's never to predict a border derby, so I will be on that fence. The one thing I can tell you, though, is every bit of the Gala faithful here are looking to see their team's fortune turn round. They've not had much to scream about so far, but they have faced the cream of the crop in National 1 through Accies, Stirling and Musselburgh. They got their first league points last year in a try-bonus point, though, against Musselburgh. That was a game they were in until the last 15 minutes, so there was a lot for you and Robbie to take away as positives from that. But they will be looking to get their first win of the season here today at home against the Jed side sitting 8th in the table. They did get their first win last week with quite a big scalp against Boroughmuir. So once again, both sides coming in with a bit of form, a lot to be positive about. The coaches are both seeming very optimistic, but the crowd here are up for it. But the rain is just starting to trickle in. I saw a lot of the hoods going up on the stand side and people down on the grassy banks, so that could play a factor as well, because they've all warmed up with a dry ball, but I don't think that's going to stay the same for much past 5 minutes. So all to play for here at Netherdale, but an interesting border derby between Gala and Jed Forest.
OK, and of course earlier on you spoke to both coaches, Michael Harshaw from Jed Forest, and let's hear your chat with you and Robbie of Gala.
17 guys were unavailable last Saturday. It was a markedly improvement in performance. Really pleasing thing was we scored 5 tries, I think it was. With 26 minutes to go, as I said, it was 28-27. There was a couple of bits, one especially up under 22. We gave them a penalty, a needless penalty. We weren't even competing for the ball. It was offside about 4 guys away for the ruck, and they were going to be kicking it. So it's a coach killer, that one. Musselburgh went down. We gave them their territory, to be fair, for 3 of their tries, and then they scored. But the guys kicked back with a try at the end. Attack has definitely improved, and there's still a load of boys to come back for us. We've got 3 back today. Murray Wilson's having his first inclusion in a squad. He's on the bench to start with, but he's no played any rugby since sevens last year, that's really encouraging for us. Jacob Moore's back. We've got Finn Thompson on the bench as well. He's kind of back into kind of fitness after a kind of longer injury. Yeah, it's encouraging, and we've had a good week in defence, which was a wee bit of frailty. I'm really looking forward to get going.
And that's it. You kind of hit the nail on the head there. Obviously, I watched the run of play of how the game unfolded last week. At one point, you were tied with Musselburgh. Mm-hmm. You said the last 10 minutes is where it kind of got away from you. How easy is that to then use to galvanise the team, or is it a sort of a crux where you have to really emphasise that to the players to play for the full 80, or does it kind of fix itself where the players come in on the Tuesday and go, I'm really annoyed at the loss we suffered?
That's a good question, because I think they've got to see the opportunities or the situations. So we've done a bit of video on that. On Tuesday night, we've got everybody in. We usually just send out clips. We've got everybody in for 10-15 minutes before the session. We were really specific about what we're going to be working on in the session. There was actually a lot of encouragement within the group, because we had progressed. Like in games we were playing, we were only scoring 1, possibly 2 tries. Mm-hmm. It is a young squad. We are wanting selection headaches. We had to think a wee bit more about the squad this week, so it was good in that sense. There is progress, and that's the encouraging thing.
So, Michael, Border Derby doesn't get much better than this, but you're the away team today. How important is it to get on the scoreboard early?
Like our focus is probably throughout the game more than early. We know what Gala are going to bring at us, and they'll probably come out firing at the start. So it's probably whether we can weather the storm and then try and stamp our own authority on the game at a stage when we get the opportunity. I would imagine the game will ebb and flow a bit. So. Like our emphasis is kind of on the guys staying calm and just trusting the process, staying in the moment. So there'll probably be a few things go against us, but we're kind of working on how we deal with that and how we move on to the next task. So.
And then the team's finally starting to click. Obviously got the first win of the season last weekend, a big scalp against Boroughmuir. How important is it to get that win on the board and give the players something to work off? Yeah,
like I think that just kind of gives us a bit of confidence in the work that we've been doing. So our decision making was probably a lot better last week. I mean, we scored a couple of decent tries. We scored one from deep, just in terms of like decision making when it was on. When we needed a kick, we kicked and got territory. So those elements of the game are really improving. Our halfbacks run the game. So we've got a backline we've got loads of good runners, and then it's just like how we decide when we're going for it, and when we're a bit more conservative and play for territory, and that's starting to come. Obviously the boys are pretty young, so it's just taking a bit of time to change that mindset a bit.
And that's kind of a thing we were talking about it earlier throughout the league, and definitely up the pyramid as well. A lot of young players have been integrated into squads this season. How important is it to get them up to speed so quickly, and how is the best way to sort of do that?
Yeah, I think you've got to be patient. You've got to wait. Like if it hadn't come last week and not this week, then we'd still be looking at it be the same thing. But the sooner they can get there, obviously the sooner we can look at how many wins we get and where we are in the league table, rather than just focusing on those performances. So that, to me, that's the biggest thing, is patience, because as soon as you put pressure on them, then they start going backwards again. So it's just like stay calm. We stay calm as a coaching team, try to help the team stay calm, and then they get that better decision making out of it.
Michael Harshaw there, the head coach of Jed Forest. Before that, his counterpart at Gala, and that's going to be an exciting one today. One of the many matches we're covering today. Of course, we're on air till 5 o'clock, or just after 5 o'clock, with posting, of course, our Rugby Roundup programme with chat from players and coaches. That's coming up a little bit later on at round about 7 o'clock, so you will not miss anything. And after the break, it's live commentary of KELSO v Selkirk.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
If you're hearing this, then so could your customers. To advertise on Rugby Radio's 2 Saturday shows and also the Scottish Club Rugby podcast, get in touch via our website at rugbyradio.co.uk. Advertising and sponsorship packages are available for the whole season or on a monthly basis. Help support what we do to promote club rugby in Scotland using our contact page at rugbyradio.co.uk.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
Borders Mortgage Hub. When it's time to celebrate the big wins, on and off the pitch, choose Oakham Black, one of the UK's leading suppliers of sustainable medals, trophies and gifts. Great moments deserve to be remembered, with custom designs made just for your club, school or business. Oakham Black. Celebrate, acknowledge, inspire. Find out more at oakamblack.com.
Oak and Black. This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
OK, time to go down to Poynder Park for full commentary of KELSO against Selkirk. And in the commentary box this afternoon, a very good afternoon to Scott Tomlinson. And first of all, to David Ferguson, who doesn't appear to be there at the moment. Hello, David, come in. If not, then we shall go to Netherdale and have a little chat with Sam Matthews in the meantime. Sam, are you there?
Luckily, I am here.
That's good news.
It is deafening here as the Gala side make their way onto the pitch, staring down their Jed Forest opposition in their team huddle. But yeah, it looks like it's all to play for here. The crowd have filled in nicely into the Netherdale stand.
So what are we expecting today? I mean, I mentioned it's going to be a high-scoring affair, but, as you said earlier on, Borders derbies, anything can happen.
It is, but I quite like it. They've got a lot of young players in the back. So, Aaron Weatherhead against Rory Wilson in the 10 jerseys is a really nice one to sort of watch a match up for. I think the big one that probably teams recognise on the team sheet is probably Glenn McCrum and Clark Skeldon going head-to-head in the second row. Always a nice one. And then obviously Finn Scott applied his trade as a smaller hooker, but he's now doing a stint at the 7 jersey for Jed today. So it could be that as Gala and little Rory Wilson gets us underway. Jed now playing with the ball just outside their 10, and so far it's get everybody a touch on the ball and not much happening out phase play.
What's the team news there today?
Team news quite consistent, obviously, as you and Robbie alluded to in his pre-match talk. He's getting a few players back coming in. I can imagine trading's getting busier if he had 17 boys on the physio table and now he's got them holding bags or running defence. But as I said, the key ones, Rory Wilson in the 10 jersey, Cam Bryden out there on the wing, and obviously the ever impressive Ben Gill. He's now doing a shift more into the pitch, playing in the outside centre jersey today, so interesting to see him get his hands on the ball probably a bit earlier. But also that they have the usual names sort of kicking around in the pack as well. You've got Jamie Bell in the 8, Grant Stevenson in the 2. Also names coming back on the bench, Murray Wilson in the 20 jersey this afternoon. He'll be eager to get a starting jersey back, but not only that, eager to get a touch of the ball. And Gala have now just received a kick, and they've made a quick breakaway through Daniel Kerr, young Kerr, but he's just got strapped on the bootlaces, and I think the referee has just flagged. They're still playing on with advantage, but there has been a deliberate, cynical knockdown there by Jed Forest. So back to a sort of more tame play as they've now done a crossfield kick out to the outside to get Oisin Beard on the ball as quickly as they can. But once again, both sides are trying to get both players a touch of the ball quite early on as Gala now set up camp just inside the Jed 22.
OK, well, we'll break off there from Sam, and hopefully we can get connections with David Ferguson, who is along with Scott Tomlinson at Poynder Park this afternoon. We heard from him earlier. Can he hear us now?
Well, hopefully he can hear us now from Poynder Park. And we're coming through there, Stuart, loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Excellent, we've got an attack on right on the first minute here, a couple of minutes into this game here at Poynder Park. It's a great aim with James Thompson bursting there, which you could hear roused the Poynder Park crowd. They're playing left to right, playing towards the changing rooms here in their familiar black and white, black shorts and red and white socks, and they're attacking into the 22 against the Selkirk team, who are playing their away strip with the white tops this afternoon with blue shorts and navy shorts and navy socks. But KELSO very much on the attack here, just a few minutes into the game, Scott.
Yeah, it was a great start with Selkirk, to be fair. They ended up in the KELSO 22 but just couldn't get over the line, and now KELSO are on the attack inside the Selkirk 22, and then really multiple phases of play, and KELSO looking strong there.
They are, and we've seen this from KELSO. They like to move the ball, and when they get into that 22, they try and blend that mix of ball carriers hitting hard, making the punches, and then moving the ball when they get the chance to the men out wide. And they've got good players there, as we know, out wide. They've been held up there. Selkirk screaming for a penalty. It's not coming. The referee today, the referee this afternoon, David Young, Ayrshire man, Ayrshire farmer, former scrum half himself, so we'll see how much nonsense he takes from his nines this afternoon. But as we speak, it's Ewan Thompson that takes out the big blonde hair of Ewan Thompson in the second row, picks up and gets into the middle of the 22, goes out to Dwayne Patterson, he moves it wide. In fact, Liam Herdman moves it wide to Dwayne Patterson, both of them with their white scrum caps, not easy to detect which is which there this afternoon. But Bruce McNeil back on the ball, he makes a charge. There's about 3 men it's needed to bring him down inside the 22, moved out to Cammy Thompson, again he goes, but he's well tackled by Andrew McComb just a couple of yards inside the 22, comes back to Liam Herdman, he ducks this way and that, doesn't give the pass, holds on to it, he's brought to ground with a big thumping tackle, goes out to Dwayne Patterson now, he ducks past the first tackle, but no, he's held, tries to hold on to the ball on the ground and put it back in his own terms, picked up by Andy Tate back in at scrum half this afternoon for KELSO. He gives it to Grant Shields, a big prop, he makes a good 3 metres, but they're not getting far into that 22. Good defence at the moment, Scott, from Selkirk.
We must be talking about 20 phases though, so Whether Kelso's been patient or whether the defence is strong by the Selkirk team, we'll find out very shortly.
A nice wee snipe there from Andy Tate. He thought he saw a gap, but he's half through and held. Ball comes back again, and a big thumping tackle again. Selkirk are certainly putting in the tackles. And while Kelso, for the last few minutes, as Scott says, have been pressing that 22 just inside, they're not getting much further. A yard or two inside the 22, and the ball's coming back. Frankie Robson this time takes the ball off Bruce McNeil. He's held again on the ground. Ball coming back. Referee David Young, as I say, is letting a lot go here. I'm sure the supporters will be delighted to see that. He's not pinging things too quickly, letting players play. And that's Ewan Thompson that takes it on again. It's moved, but Andy Tate, again he goes. He's got a bit further that time. Bruce McNeil orchestrating from behind. He's standing there with his arms out where he wants the ball to go, and it's young Will Jones, who's come up from Wales, lives in the north of England. He's come to Kelso this season, open side flanker. He's made a difference in the back row. Comes back to Bruce McNeil, but he's standing still, nowhere to go, so he throws it out the back, and it comes back eventually to Dwayne Patterson. He thinks about a kick wide to James Thompson, but he changes his mind, ducks inside, and it's been picked off. Selkirk seemed to have stolen the ball, but there was an advantage being played by David Young there for Selkirk not releasing there on the ground in the 22. So first good chance of creating a good attacking platform for Kelso. They've got a chance to kick to touch. I think Dwayne Patterson with his white scrum cap on, he's pointing aside a bit red mark down the back, so that's how we'll be able to tell the difference between Liam Herdman and Dwayne Patterson this afternoon. He's got a big red mark down the back of his scrum cap. But
and you have to say what a fantastic start to a border derby. Selkirk had a wee bit of ascendancy early doors, and Kelso came back, and it must have been round about 30 phases of play, just right along that 22 metre line, not getting anywhere. Good defence by Selkirk, but I think quietly Kelso will be pretty confident they've kept the ball for about 3 minutes and got a penalty out of it, take the 3 points and maybe walk back down to the other half of the field.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. It's 7 minutes into the game here. The first chance for Kelso to have a pop at goal. Dwayne Patterson leading the scoring charts this year, the goal kicking charts in Scottish Premiership, level at the moment, and he's going for a nice kick just outside the 22 to the right of the posts. Oh, and he struck it a bit straight, one of those on the driver where you want it just to curl in just a little bit, but he struck it. That's very unlike Patterson. From there he'll kick those all day long. It was only about 10 metres to the right of the posts, and he's kicked it very straight, just misses the post by about a yard or two, but he'll be angry with that.
There's a bit of wind coming there from left to right, which maybe probably affected that kick there just now.
Yeah.
And Carl Anderson kicks long back into Kelso's hands.
Yeah, so a long kick downfield. Selkirk will want to make sure the ball's down there, but Bruce McNeil's on the ball and he charges over halfway, takes a few good tackles before it can bring him down to the ground, and it's moved quickly. Andy Tate moves it out wide. Frankie Robson, it carries on to Adam Hall, out to Archie Barber wide, who comes in from fullback into line, then kicks forward. He's kicked it, but looks like it's gone quite deep into 22, but it's hit the touch before it gets to 22. So a good chance for Kelso to put the pressure back on Selkirk very quickly from that restart. So at the end of the day, you go for goal, Scott, you don't get it, but you still maintain the pressure in this half of the park.
That's right, they've put it back down into 22. What's really interesting, both sets of backs are very exciting within the Scottish rugby game at the moment, and I think whoever gets parity up front could well be the difference of this game today. So I know it holds for an exciting game. It's certainly touchline to touchline at the moment.
Yeah, it is, and it'll suit both teams. I mean, I think they won't want to be caught into just an arm wrestle, because both teams like to play.
Yeah, they do. You can see Archie Barber having a wee run. Great tackle there beside it.
A wee bit surprised Archie Barber tackled. He was held on the ground, he didn't let it go, but Selkirk over the top. I think Selkirk thought that ball was theirs. They had him in the tackle.
Could have went either way, that penalty, couldn't it?
And he said, the referee David Young decides that the tackler did not roll away before he went for the ball, and so it's a penalty to Kelso, just close to the halfway, just inside their own half. Dwayne Patterson takes the ball and looks for a good length there. He kicks it well into touch on halfway, on the 22. I'm not sure whether that's just because that's where the referee's assistant was already standing.
He never moved.
Decided, yeah, it's over top of my head, that'll do fine. So it's a line out to Kelso on the 22, attacking the Selkirk 22. I think Kelso expected Selkirk to come at them today. They knew they had to have a good start, and they're certainly putting it together here. Taken well by Billy McNeil. Bruce McNeil's stepson takes the ball well in the line out, and they're going for a maul. Kelso moving it into that 22. Selkirk holding on well. Kieran Westlake is in the middle there, a big number 8, so that Kelso eventually have to bring the ball back. It goes along the line. Liam Herdman to Adam Hall, misses out Frankie Robson. Adam Hall takes it on into the 22, comes back. Andy Tate looks for a pass, but the Selkirk back line were up quick in his faces, so he goes through a little line, but he only makes it a couple of metres, and it comes back again. Grant Shields, the prop, gets the ball out on the left hand side. Kelso attacking it, they're about 5 metres into the 22. The ball's still being moved left. They're going down that blind side, and they're making some good yards over the far side there. It comes back this time to, just looking to see who that is on the ball. I think that was Nick Barnes, probably, who's playing prop today, tight head prop for Kelso. It's a wee bit breezy, keeping my sheet here with all the team names across it, all my facts in front of me. It's going to be
very
hard
well
to hold on to them.
Out by, I think, Tate
Selkirk got the ball. The Selkirk's come back on Selkirk's side, so Kelso were attacking well, but good work by Corey Tate there.
Which has
good
happened
player.
Twice that's happened inside that 5 metre channel that's between the try line.
And that'll be very frustrating for Kelso, putting together a good attack, but it just shows the teeth in that Selkirk defence. Corey Tate got in there, stripped the ball, came back, Kieran Westlake got it back, and Kelso managed to clear at the danger, only to close to 22 metres, so they're still in their own 22. But it's a crucial period, even as early in the game as this, Scott, to be able to keep that line intact for Selkirk.
Yes, and to be fair, I've watched Selkirk for the last 3 weeks, and their defence at times can be a wee bit leaky. There has been a couple of missed tackles there just now, but the footwork prior to contact for Kelso is really, really good. So just before contact, they're moving their feet, trying to get over the gain line and make that tackle as hard as possible. It's a good driving line out for Kelso again on the 22.
And there they go into the 22, the Kelso maul. They're holding it together very well. Bruce McNeil right in the middle there, and he directs it well, but Selkirk have managed to get in amongst it, disrupt it. Kelso are going to have to play the ball, but it looks like it's coming back on the Selkirk side. No. Yes, indeed. I think the ball came down, so I think the referee's decided that's a Selkirk ball.
And I've just seen Nicky Walker there, and they'll be ruined. That's three attempts inside the 22 now. They've been turned over by the good Selkirk defence, so there'll be worrying times for Kelso, because the amount of pressure they've had and possession they've had with the ball, they would be expecting to at least get some points on the board.
Yes, indeed, and that's the key at this moment in time. And it's been a challenge for Kelso this season so far. They've had good periods in games where they've been up. They've had a lot of domination in the games, but they haven't put the points on the board, and that's what's left their games, particularly the border derbies, close. They managed to beat Melrose here last time 14-8, but it was right in the game, right to the end. They beat Hawick earlier in the season here 14-10, but again it was really close, and they could have put they could have put some daylight between them, and instead, as you see there, they rue that fact that they haven't put points on the board in that first 10 minutes of having a lot of pressure in that Selkirk half. Selkirk survived. They've cleared the ball down touch, down to a 10 metre line. That'll give Selkirk a bit of a fillip as well, Scott.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. It'll give them the confidence, on the back of 4 defeats on the trot. It's it's been a lot of hard graft between training on a Tuesday and Thursday at the moment, and they really need some confidence. They need something to give them that spurt today. Yeah,
so Kelso with their ball, with the line out, they throw it well. It's taken by Cammy Thompson in the middle, back in the second row. Cammy Thompson, having had a run in the back row, it comes into the middle of the park. The familiar figure of Frankie Robson trucks it up hard. Then it comes out Nick Barnes, not the biggest tight head you'll see in the world. The Kiwi across here plays hooker normally, having a shot at tight head today. Dan Gamble's not with Kelso today, and he tucks up, and then it comes wide to Dwayne Patterson. He made a mazy run. He eventually gets up towards the 22. It comes back, and Grant Shields already, that's about his 4th carry so far already in this game, takes up to 22, comes out to Liam Herdman. He moves it quickly. Bruce McNeil popping up in the midfield. He's held, but Bruce is not an easy man to take down. The ball comes back eventually, back out to the backs. Adam Hall spins it really wide to James Thompson, the far left hand side there. He doesn't get very far. Selkirk are getting across really quickly to shut down the channels. Comes back in again to Nick Barnes, the tight head. He picks up and it's dropped. Big groans you hear from Poynder Park crowd as the ball's dropped by Andy Tate, the scrum half there, and it's cleared well downfield by Selkirk, and they say to Kelso, right, start it all again. Big long kick actually back by James Thompson, which is a bit of a mistake there. It was left to run all the way through and goes dead behind the Selkirk goal line, and that means it's coming all the way back to where that ball was kicked, which was about the Kelso 10-metre line.
Kelso got back onto that 22 again, and Andy Tate was really driving things forward there just now, and he was just unlucky. I think it was just a wee knock or something happened. There was a wee knock on by him, and he'll be frustrated with that again because there was another opportunity inside that 22. I believe that's 4 now.
Yes, and so we're still here at Poynder Park, and that's us talking about being 15 minutes into the game here, and there are no scores, so we're just heading to the 16th minute. The teams are got a scrum on the mid half, but we'll maybe go and check the scores elsewhere with Stuart round the country. It's just in the 16th minute here at Poynder Park, and the scores Kelso 0, Selkirk 0.
And let's go to Netherdale. It's all happening down there. I mentioned it could well be a big scoring game today. Well, there's already scores on the board. Sam Matthews.
Well, you join us just as Gala successfully trot back from the Jedburgh whitewash. They have just got their second try of the afternoon through Glenn McCrum. Their first try came through the young O'Sheen Beard, but the two players that have been standing out for me so far has been Cam Bryden and Jack Niven, the winger and the fullback respectively. They say that's their positions. They've played every position on the park so far. They're popping up in every channel, inside balls, the works. They're making sure they get through a mountain of effort in the first 10 minutes. Jed have had some successful play though, mostly through their forwards. It's came through, and then obviously the man about town, the one that everybody recognises, Clark Skeldon, he got himself over with a battering ram of a run, and then he had about a 5-metre wingspan to work with where he just placed the ball on the try line, so you had to tackle him on the 22 to successfully stop Clark Skeldon, but that didn't happen. So we currently sit at the scores 14-7 in favour of Gala.
We'll return a little bit later on, but Gala in the lead in that one. In the Premiership, it's Melrose 0, Curry 12. 2 quick tries for Curry at the Greenyards, Ewan Crombie and Ed Hadsell getting on the score sheet. It's Watsonians 5, Ayr 7. Bobby Beattie kicked off scoring at Myerside. Harry Fisher has just gone over for try for Watsonians, and also Glasgow Accies in the lead against Musselburgh. It's Glasgow Accies 12, Musselburgh 7. Let's return to Poynder Park.
Yes, well, we started that first 15 minutes here at Poynder Park with Kelso very much in control, but Selkirk have had a bit of pressure. But as I speak, it's Kelso that are leading a counter-attack away from their 22. We'll come back to the reasons why Selkirk fluffed up their attacking chance in a moment with Scott Tomlinson, but Kelso trying to run it out. But Kelso lose the ball, and now Selkirk have picked it up. It's on halfway. Callum Anderson, a big fullback. They're glad to see him back in the team in the last couple of weeks. He makes a big difference to Selkirk. He gets over halfway, puts it inside to Kieran Westlake, the number 8, and again he's a big bull of a player over halfway. Selkirk playing in front of us down from right to left in the white shirts this afternoon and navy shorts, Selkirk, and they're putting Hugo Alderson, a quick supplier of the ball. Scrum half feeds it out and it gets all the way out to the wing there. Now it's Kelso that are having to work hard, having enjoyed first 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes of domination in this game. They've not put any points on the board, missed a penalty by Dwayne Patterson not far from the front of the post, which unlike him, and they've had a couple of chances not going their way, but it's coming down the field now. Dwayne Patterson gets a chance to pick it up from a chip through by Callum Anderson. He kicks it long, it goes up into the 22. Callum Anderson collects, but Scott, going back to that little bit of chance there, we saw Selkirk having a chance in the middle, turned over. They have a line out here just outside the 22 from Selkirk, and they fluffed their lines.
There's a knock on by Kieran Westlake. Simple mistakes, and there's almost an edginess to Selkirk's game at present. And they've only really, truthfully, only been down inside the Kelso half twice. So there just seems to be a nervousness there with it, and obviously with Kelso holding possession for quite some time, and within that kind of 18-minute spell that we've had so far, it's just creating more and more nerves on the Selkirk side at the moment.
Yeah, and it's going to be a matter of who strikes first, who takes that initiative, and that's been the challenge with Kelso down here in their games at home, their border derbies against Hoyk and Melrose. They've had a good bit, just as we watched, Ewan Thompson drops the ball in the line out, he had it and hands it back to Selkirk. Selkirk now attack over halfway line. They're going on the far side, Angrat City gets it wide across to Josh Welsh, and it's a chip and a chase, and it's Liam Herdman just gets there in front, but then there's a clash between two players and it's picked up. There is it, going in for a try. It looks like Josh Welsh might have got the touchdown. He does just before the line. Referee gives him the try, and out of nothing, we're talking to Scott about 20 phases plus, putting the ball together, good set pieces, and actually from that we get a try.
Yeah, there was nothing in it. Quick turnover on the line out, and a beautiful little chip by Josh Welsh on that far side of the field to put everybody under pressure in that Kelso back division. And the camera angle might show us a wee bit better, but for me it actually looked as if it touched the back of the whitewash there, so it would have been a dead ball. But the resulting part of it is one of the Selkirk players has smashed into the billboards at the back behind the posts, and it seems to be quite a serious injury, to be fair.
I think somebody lying down there at the moment, a bit concerned there. The Selkirk team don't seem too concerned there when they're making their way back to their own half. Bruce McNeil is laying down the law to his Kelso players behind the posts. You can see he's.
So it looks like Josh Welsh eventually scored the try and took a bit of battering for it at the same time.
It's Josh that went straight into the board at the back, but that was brave. I mean, Josh, you've only got a yard or so between the dead ball line and the fence there at the back, but he was making sure he touched that ball down. He got there, he chased it from a good 20 metres out.
And to be fair, he was the one that made it as well with a little kick over the top as well. So now, fair play to Josh. He's been an excellent player for Selkirk over the years. Probably someone who would have been pushing for the captaincy this year within the club. So he's a good, mature player, big guy for a winger, and he can shift as well. So fair play to him. A really good try, taken well.
And it just shows. We were talking earlier on, Scott, about it's about taking points. It's about taking your chances. You said
was a chance.
Selkirk have only been in the Kelso half a couple of times. You can see why Bruce McNeil will be angry with his team for not doing better when they had the ball. They gave it up there. They lost ball on halfway. It came back out to Selkirk. They moved it quickly to the side, and they've shown Selkirk that they don't need a lot of possession. They can create scores. They've got some dangerous runners.
Yes, and you would expect that from Kelso too. To be fair, with the back division, they've got. It was a back ball in the line out that the turnover from Kelso was, and then Urnok's just. He just didn't put enough weight on that back ball, and that was what created the pressure and the turnover to quick ball straight away.
And a great kick and chase, and that's what makes kicks. People talk about good kicks. It's really the quality of the chase that makes it, and Josh Welsh turned that kick into a try for Selkirk. So Selkirk leading here at Poynder Park with 22 minutes into the game. And first try on the board, and Selkirk, it's a high tackle there against Kelso.
High tackle against McNeil today.
Maybe not a huge surprise there.
I like that though. Monroe Job took the kick off really well, and it went hard to McNeil, and it was a good feisty border tackle, to be fair.
Yeah,
the referee had judged it to be high though.
Yeah, he did. And that's the thing, the players know under these laws now that you've got to make every effort to show that tackle is down below the breastbone, and if you don't, referees will penalise you all day long. So it's Selkirk with a line out on halfway. Good throw in there from Corey Tate, and it's well taken in by Jack Fisher, and it's Corey Tate that picks up, and he's off the back of the ruck there, and he moves the ball inside. He's running really well, tackled by Dwayne Patterson, but he's got from halfway all the way to the 22. There's a high tackle going in there. You can hear the Selkirk crowd are shouting for that, and referee has his hand out. David Young has his hand out. He's seen it as well, and so they're playing under a penalty advantage here at Selkirk, and they're roaring into the middle of the park. Kieran Westlake taking it on again just into the 22, and they have to play the ball back out. Good quality of Kelso defence, but Selkirk are on it. They're on the front foot here. Jack Fisher, big run by a big man from Preston Pans there. He has to be tackled to the ground. You need 2 men to bring him down, and then there's another good tackle going in. Kieran Westlake, another 2 Kelso players. They're certainly putting the hits in, making sure that Selkirk are having to work hard. But Hugo Alderson, a nice wee chip over. James Thompson was alive to that though. Josh Welsh was on him in seconds to carry him over the line, but they were playing that penalty
advantage. Very good play by James Thompson there. It's really difficult to look over your back there when there's a kick being chipped over the top, but you can see Selkirk's intent to play when they get go forward ball, and they look very dangerous when they get that go forward ball, and Kelso are just chasing shadows a wee bit at times.
Yeah, they are just now. They've been made to work because, we know that Selkirk have good players. We know they'll be hurting. They haven't won this season. They've played 4 games and haven't won yet. They've come very close, improving each week. And that Callum Anderson's so important to them. When I saw them down against Selkirk, he was missing, and you could see the presence, the lack of that coming from the back.
It's that kicking presence as well. He's actually a very good rugby player with ball in hand as well. He attracts players onto him, and then is able to offload as well. So he has been a key miss, and it's good to see him back today.
And the ball comes in from the line out for Selkirk. They pull it forward. It's on the ground, brought down very quickly, but it's moved again, moving the point of attack really well. Kelso, Corey Tate gets on that again, burrows round the tackle, but he's held good 5 metres out in the ruck. The ball comes back. 2 players, Selkirk in the middle again. They pick up the ball and they're making sure they're going forward. They're making good dents. This time it's Luke Petty who takes the ball on. He gets to about 5 metres out from just in front of the posts. Then it looks like Bruce Riddle was that on the ball there. Takes the ball in again. Tight head. One of the smallest tight heads going around, Bruce Riddle, but he is a very effective player. And the ball comes out now to the backs, and it's Brodie Allen who does seem to get through the tackle. Gets bounced off Comes back, he didn't like that too much, but he's penalised for a knock-on.
Strong laddie, isn't he?
He just
Really,
bounced
for somebody
off
that's
that.
just turned 18-year-old. Wow.
Yeah,
That was a huge hit with Adam Hall, and he just bounced straight off of Brodie Allen there just now. Great to see.
Yeah. So Selkirk there, just a little mistake, just lost the ball, but there's big tackles are going in right across the pitch, and it's good to see the quality of the defence, and you wouldn't expect anything less with Kelso, particularly with Matty Douglas there now working with Kelso. We know the reputation that Matty's had with Hawick in the south, and Edinburgh Ladies women up there as well. He's done a great job, and you can see the difference he's made to the defences, Kelso defence.
Yeah, without doubt, because really the try that Selkirk scored, the bounce of the ball could have went anywhere, and so it just shows you that Selkirk have to be at the top of their game to try and beat that Kelso defence.
Yeah, indeed, and we've got a wee break in the game here, so we'll go round and catch up with some of the scores elsewhere. Stuart, here it's 26 minutes played at Poynder Park, and the score is Kelso 0, Selkirk 7.
And of course today we launched the Rugby Radio Man of the Match, sponsored by Oak and Black for the best player of the day. Selkirk in front by 5 points to 0. Also in the Premiership, Hawick 0, Heriots 7 is a latest score. Melrose 0, Curry 12, 2 quick-fire tries at the Green Yards for Ewan Crombie and Ed Hadsell. Watsonians 5, Ayr 7 is a latest score. Bobby Beattie going on the score sheet for Ayr first of all, then Harry Fisher getting a try for Watsonians. And National 1, bit of an upset at the moment in the early days at Hartree Mill. Biggar 5, Gordonians 7. Gordonians, of course, haven't won any matches this year, and they've actually been pretty heavily defeated. So they're working well today. 7 points to 5 in the lead away from home at Biggar at the moment. It's Gala 12, Jed Forest 7. That's definitely confirmed now. Oisin, Beard and Glen Macrum scoring for Gala. Glasgow Accies 12 now. Musselburgh 7 and Kirkcaldy 5. Peebles 7 in National 2. And don't forget that GHA and Glasgow Hawks kick off at 5:15 tonight. Just before we head back to Poynder Park, let's go to Netherdale. Sam Matthews, an update from you.
Well, you join me just as Jed have a penalty on the Gala 5 metre line. The subs are already starting to make effect. Obviously, rolling subs. The no number jersey of Paulo Ferreira is luckily quite recognisable, so he's came onto the pitch, as well as Jamie Hind, two very powerful men. And Paulo Ferreira at one point was Jed's top try scorer consistently from exactly these positions. They've chose to take the scrum, which I find quite interesting. Obviously, the attacking play, but Jed looking to get back to at least an even keel here in the attacking platform, but it's currently Gala 12, Jed 7.
OK, Sam Matthews watching that one at Netherdale today. Back to Poynder Park then. I think I said 5-0. It's actually 7-0 to Selkirk, and I'm sure David Ferguson will be able to confirm that.
We'll keep you on track with that, Stuart. We'll do our best, but sometimes it's not easy to tell. Sometimes the assistant referees aren't quite so sure. The flags don't quite go up as they used to. But as we're back here, Selkirk are leading 7 points to 0 here. They were on the attack there again. Scott Tomlinson with me here this afternoon at Poynder Park, and Selkirk they've really put the foot down and started to have a bit of pressure attacking that Kelso 22, but a couple of good chances there that they've squandered, Scott.
Yeah, I think it gave them a wee bit of confidence. A loose kick by Kelso, and Carl Anderson came back down this stand side here, and then Selkirk, as I said, when they get front foot ball, they're looking very dangerous at the moment.
They are, and that's a long ball. That's Kelso had the chance to clear their own danger, the penalty.
Great kick.
And that was a really good kick there. It's gone into touch just 5 metres into that Selkirk half. And that gives Kelso the chance to get out of their half. It's been a funny game so far, Scott. First 10-15 minutes it was really all Kelso.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the
now
game.
It's gone another way.
I mean, both teams have got a wee bit attacking intent, maybe playing a wee bit too many phases and not seeing that kind of sidestepping role that some of the good backs from both teams have got within the team. But I'm loving the game. I'm loving the ferocity of the game. And certainly there's no love lost, is there?
No, there's not, and there's plenty of ambition as well. The players they're trying to play a game that the crowd here at Poynder Park loves to see. Certainly from Kelso, they move the ball as soon as they've got the chance, and there it comes again, coming wide. Adam Hall moves it out, slides a nice kick through, but that's well picked up at the back there. Dwayne Patterson was almost on it, just 2 metres from the line, but Selkirk managed to pick it up and get back in numbers to get back to support. I don't know if it's Hugo Alderson, I think they got across there, but they're not getting very far away from that Selkirk line. Kelso are all over them, swarming there at the line close to their own line after that clever attack by Kelso. There's a big kick upfield by Hugo Alderson. It's not going to touch though, still in. Liam Herdman takes it, he passes inside to James Thompson, he gets caught very quickly. A great tackle there, it stops him moving from Brodie Allen. So Kelso outside the Selkirk 22, having to build it again, but Frankie Robson goes and he's a big man again, the inside centre for Kelso to bring down. He moves it back out, it comes out from the ruck. Liam Herdman has got it, but he can't get to his feet, he seemed to trip, fall, moving along the ground, doing a sort of worm impression there before he was finally held, and then the ball comes back, a big tackle, but it goes out wide again. It's Will Jones, the open side flanker, that finds himself out there for Kelso on the left touchline, knocks a couple men back, eventually he's tackled and the ball comes back in, it bubbles about. Ewan Thompson, big blonde haired second row for Kelso, gets it, he moves it to his second row partner Cammy Thompson. Bit of a suggestion of a high tackle there, but I think Cammy Thompson was ducking down into that, and it comes back there to Grant Shields this time, who motors on into that 22. The loosehead prop, played for Newcastle, was a good pro in his time here, helping out his hometown team once again. He's on the coaching staff as well, Grant Shields, making a big difference to rugby in this area. And yet the ball comes back, it's still Kelso in possession. We're going through the phases, but Selkirk are working hard to cover the field and get there, be able to stop with the tackles. And again, Kelso go wide. Liam Herdman goes to Frankie Robson, goes out to Adam Hall. Adam Hall gets stopped there before he can move the ball wide to James Thompson. He's just inside the Selkirk 22, far side of the pitch. They're about 5 metres the other side of the posts. But trying to work their way deep into that 22, but Selkirk are not letting them. Quite simply, Selkirk working really hard to get up out of the tackle and get back into the defensive line, and it's making it hard for Kelso. Lots of phases, lots of ball, but they're not really making a lot of ground. There goes Bruce McNeil this time. He's eventually tackled 2 or 3 metres inside the 22. The ball comes back. Liam Herdman, he puts it behind the runners to Archie Barber. Nicely done to Dwayne Patterson. He's finally brought down. The ball comes back inside, but it's picked up. But Selkirk regroup again, and they're making it really hard. Scott, I mean, the ferocity of the defence that's come from Selkirk, making it really hard.
The discipline's been really good as well. Discipline's been great. A brilliant tackle by Brodie Allen just on the corner flag there just now. Kelso's still got the ball under their own post.
It's close to the post, close to the Selkirk post, so Kelso's still got the ball. They're showing the composure, the patience that coach Nicky Walker will want them to show. Not panic, no white line fever, just diving at it. And a penalty is now coming their way. Referee David Young signals that something's gone wrong. Selkirk have infringed there, and so it's a free ball for Kelso. They're moving it wide to the left. They're again very close. They're only 2-3 metres away, but they can't quite get over. And then it comes back to Nick Barnes off the pass there from scrum half, but he's stopped just a metre short. He goes to the ground. Ewan Thompson looked like he'd taken it, but no, it's the left for Cammy Thompson. Then he's held again. Selkirk are coming flying out of that defensive line to knock men back. They're not just making the tackles, they're knocking them back away from the line. Kelso having to regroup, hold on to that ball. Not easily done there when the tackles are coming in. Nick Barnes at the back of the ruck, he moves the ball back. Eventually it comes to Andy Tate, he moves it to a great pass to Frankie Robson, but Frankie puts it behind his back and it goes to the ground, and then the ball was getting kicked away from the 22, so it comes back for a penalty from David Young. But yeah, it's, you know, as much as you're enjoying watching Kelso prod and try and get through everywhere, you've got to take your hats off to the Selkirk defence here, Scott.
I think you do. I think you have to respect the Selkirk defence. They've defended really well for a good part of almost 30 minutes of the game, to be perfectly honest. You know, so the tackle count will be really high. Kelso, quick tap there, and they're going
close to the post. They get towards the post, but just held up just short of it, and it comes back to Will Jones. He's got 2 or 3 forwards round about him, and he gets over. And it just shows, I mean, you've got to get that balance right between when you move it, when you punch up. But if you've got 2 or 3 men on you, then that's the benefit you get from a quick tap or a penalty, that you can set it up with boys behind you.
There was a pressure situation there. You know, it was an easy 3 points, but they decided to take the quick tap, and fair play to the forward. The forwards obviously think they have got the ascendancy of the Kelso Park. You know, they're picking and going, working round the corner with Andy Tate, and you have to say, on the face of it, it's thoroughly deserved for Kelso to score. And I would think Dwayne will knock the points over for 7-all, and that seems a reflection, certainly for the first 35 minutes of the game. You know, 7-all seems for me to be a good enough scoreline for both teams.
So you can hear the Kelso supporter happy as Dwayne Patterson puts that conversion over from in front of the post, and they'll be pleased that Kelso have come back. They've put together a good period of possession there, good period of attack in that Selkirk half, and they've actually come back with some points, which is so valuable to their confidence.
Yeah, it's actually going to be a really good game, isn't it? You know, it tees it up really well. You know, both teams will be looking to try and get an extra 3 points just before they go back in the tunnel at half time. But it's it's a good team. You could hear the support of the Kelso crowd when Kelso scored under the post there.
Yeah, it is, and there is a feeling in here in Kelso that it does add some points. It's always invidious to say whether they had a try, they had 5 points, 10 points, but there's no doubt that Kelso add something to their game when they're playing in front of this big Poynder Park crowd.
I used to love playing at Poynder Park, but it was very intimidating, this stand here, because the stand's so close to the touchline. It was always a very intimidating place to come and play. Yeah, and the converse is true, that you see the Kelso players do seem to get a bit of an extra lift, and they go again and they go again, and they don't give up, when they've got that crowd roaring them on here at Kelso. And that's something that Kelso, it's a huge part of the game. If you can get the crowd behind you, wherever you are in the home support, if you can get that crowd behind you early doors and get the crowd engaged and get them back in their team, it's a huge bonus for them. It's an extra 16th man, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no doubt they talk about that down here at Poynder Park. Here we go, a line out in. There's only 4 minutes left in this first half here at Poynder Park, and it's taken by Selkirk. It's a line out to Selkirk. It was in the Kelso 5 metre. Now they're attacking the Kelso 10 metre line, I should say. And it's Selkirk ball. Now can Selkirk produce something at the end of this half that gets them their noses back in front in this game? They've had really one real chance in this first half, and they've snapped it up from Josh Welsh. Good try by the winger, who chipped ahead and followed it and managed to survive the injury of the smash into the roads. And then there we go, Selkirk have got a break on. It was first big Andrew McComb who managed to find a gap, and he made a good 10 yards, and then it was Hugo Alderson who was on his shoulder, who then burst through to the 22, but he was snagged on the 22, and they're Selkirk having to build it again. But you can hear the excitement in the crowd as soon as a player manages to break through one of these big tackles that the boys are putting in out there this afternoon. Hugo Alderson at the back of the ruck, he moves it again wide to Selkirk. Selkirk attacking. Callum Anderson gets it, he chips it ahead. A dangerous ball there, but Archie Barber collects it. The fullback, Kelso fullback, inside his own 22, kicks it upfield to halfway, goes to Callum Anderson. He picks up. This time he doesn't bother with a kick, he runs, and he's tackled by Dwayne Patterson. Dwayne Patterson gets off his feet, tackles again. I think that's really harsh. Referee David Young has penalised Dwayne Patterson, suggesting he's got off his knees, that he was on the ground for the tackle. I don't think he was. I could see from here that Dwayne Patterson got up to his feet. He just pounced low. He sprung, from a low position.
It's a penalty that's got to cost Kelso to put them back in the corner there. Kelso's defence here was very ferocious. They were really in Selkirk's face, really trying to nullify them just before half time, and now Kelso find herself in a line-out, an attacking line-out for Selkirk inside the 22.
Yes, indeed. So Selkirk are working hard. Callum Anderson, key man. We've got a minute and a half to go this first half here. And it's still Kelso 7, Selkirk 7. And we're seeing Selkirk coming back at the hosts. They take the line out there. Jack Fisher again at centre of the line out. Takes the line out. It's a line out maul, trying to get it work its way into the 22, but they give up on that and they move the ball wide. Selkirk backed. Hugo Alderson out to their Australian standoff from Sydney. Maurice Clementson, who passes the ball on, gets in position again. Hugo Alderson this time takes it back. Bruce Riddle picks up the forwards, getting in this time, getting in the act, trying to make some ground. Now it comes back again to Clementson, who moves it wide. Brodie Allen picks up, but that's a loose pass out of the tackle, and the referee's decided that's been knocked on, and his whistle goes for a knock on from Selkirk. I think it was a bit of a loose pass there, Scott. Just is that the ferocity of the defence, or is that will Selkirk be a bit disappointed with that?
Selkirk will be disappointed with that one there. Yeah, it was just a wee mix up. I'm just smiling away. I've watched Bruce McNeil for years, and he never stops talking. It is full on. He must go home at night after the game on a Saturday and just absolutely zonk in the couch, because he's non-stop. He's such a great player for Kelso, because he's constantly just talking to players as well and pushing them in the right positions, making the hits, or if he's not making the hit, he's right next to that breakdown. He's constantly in the referee's lug as well. He's and I don't know what age he is now, to be brutally honest.
42, I think.
Is that right?
This year.
He's still a very good player in this environment.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. And here he comes off the back of the scrum. What a run by Bruce McNeil, just as you're talking about him. Makes 20 metres, barrows Hugh Alderson off. He sits him down, then he's over halfway, eventually gets pulled down, the ball comes back in the ruck, comes to Ewan Thompson, big second row, who takes it on now. But yeah, amazing, Scott. You're just talking about Bruce McNeil, and there he goes. He provides that lead to his team all the time. Now the ball comes wide right. Archie Barber to Dwayne Patterson. Dwayne Patterson gets the ball on the touchline, chips ahead. Looks like he's taken out there, but it's collected by Callum Anderson. but it's coming all the way back for a penalty to Kelso.
Dwayne Patterson's got Lachlan Ferguson under a bit of pressure here on this right hand touchline here at the moment. He's a very clever player, Dwayne, but he's really starting to ask questions of defence and asking questions of Callum Anderson to try and support Lachlan in that role, in that defensive role. Yeah, it was a fantastic break by Bruce McNeil off the back of the scrum, wasn't it? Almost Connor Sutherland-like at Hoyk as well.
Yes, indeed. I mean, there are key players that you really notice when they're not here. And it's interesting that last season, when Kelso were playing against Selkirk up at Philip Hall, Kelso had a lot of possession that day as well, and couldn't finish. And Bruce McNeil, it was really obvious that he was missing from that back row, because he's used to going over the line from close range. And it's interesting there, we're into the last few seconds of this first half, and Dwayne Patterson is going for a kick at goal. I think that wind out there is probably stronger than we can tell from here in the stand, and you can see from the big flag fluttering above the Kelso club rooms. It means that Dwayne is going for a penalty from, fully, that must be 45 metres out. It's just close to the 10 metre line, Selkirk 10 metre line, just beyond it, but it's over on the far side of the pitch. Dwayne lined it up, he looked at the posts, trying just to keep his kicking style just the same. Don't hump it too far, too hard, and it's certainly a good kick. And the flags go up. And that is the end of the first half here. We wondered if somebody would get their noses in front. Well, Dwayne Patterson has shown the value of his goal kicking in the last seconds of this half. That means both sides going inside here at Poynder Park this afternoon, with Kelso having snuck into a lead against Selkirk by 10 points to 7.
Exciting stuff down there at Poynder Park this afternoon. Exciting stuff going around the grounds as well. Watsonian 17, Ayr 14 now. Blair McPherson has just got one back. Stu Allison went over for a second try for Watsonians following Harry Fisher's try, and then Harry Fisher went on the scoreboard again to make it 17-7. But as I say, Blair McPherson, the captain of Ayr, has come back, and that's now half time. We'll go over to Marside very shortly and talk to Hugh Brown, find out some details of that. I can tell you it's Hoyk 7, Heriots 14 at the moment, Kelso 10, Selkirk 7 as you've just heard, Melrose 17, Curry 12. So Curry went into a 12-0 lead, Ed Hadsall and Ewan Crombie scoring there. But since then, Xander McTaggart, Will Ferry and Doug Crawford have hit back, and Melrose in front now by 17 points to 12. And as I just mentioned, Watsonian 17, Ayr 14 is the half-time score. National 1, Biggar 5, Gordonian 7, Boroughmuir 3, Mar 7, Gala 12, Jed Forest 14 will return there shortly, and Glasgow Accies 12, Musselburgh 7 in National 1. In National 2, Howard 5 21, Stewmel 14, and Kirkcaldy losing that one at home to Peebles. It's Kirkcaldy 10, Peebles 14, and just come in GHK 19, Dundee 0 is the latest score. In fact, they've just got their bonus point try, so it's now GHK 26, Dundee 0. That's happening at Annie's Land. Let's go back to Netherdale then. I think it's still all happening as far as scores are concerned. Sam Matthews.
Yeah, that's right, Stuart. The half-time whistle has just blown, and 30 men still discussing the finer parts of the first half between each other as they make their way down the Netherdale tunnel. But the score currently sits Gala 19, Jed 17. Hamish Segi, the inside centre for Gala, got over just before the half-time whistle blew, and there was just enough time for Jed to get a kick-off underway, but Gala caught that and put it straight into touch to get themselves back down the tunnel. But it's been all action. Oisin Beard, Glenn McCrum, and as I said, Hamish Segi getting on the score sheet for the home side. In between those was a penalty from Finn Scott, a try from Gary Young, and a try from Clark Skeldon. So a lot of familiar names popping up on the team sheets, but also the young players as well from both sides, really putting on a performance in a border derby. It's been all to play for here, and I'm very much looking forward to the second half. A very action-packed first 40 minutes here at Netherdale.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
If you're hearing this, then so could your customers. To advertise on Rugby Radio's 2 Saturday shows and also the Scottish Club Rugby podcast, get in touch via our website at rugbyradio.co.uk. Advertising and sponsorship packages are available for the whole season or on a monthly basis. Help support what we do to promote club rugby in Scotland using our contact page at rugbyradio.co.uk.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
Let's go to Myerside then. Half-time there, Hugh Brown.
Well, it's the home side who are in front here at Myerside. It was a cagey start, though, from both teams in the driving rain before Ayr stepped up a gear in the 10th minute from a line-out, and Bobby Beattie was the man with the final touch, converted by Fergus Johnston. But Watsonians replied almost immediately with a Harry Fisher try as he sliced through Ayer's almost static defence. 8 minutes from the interval, Watsonians went in front with a well-worked passage of play, which ended in inside centre Stu Allison gaining the try, which was converted successfully. And they scored again just before the break with a second try on the far side for scrum half Harry Fisher. But Ayr hit back just before the whistle through captain Blair McPherson, who pushed over under the posts. So, could the league leaders' unbeaten run be coming to an end? We'll find out in the next 40 minutes. Here at Myerside at half-time, it's Watsonians 17, Ayr 14.
A lot of excitement at the Greenyard as well. Melrose are playing Curry today, and a man there is Ian Hurd.
Half-time here at the Greenyards, it's Melrose 17, Curry 12. A fast start from the visitors with a try from centre Ewan Crombie after 40 seconds, after some good lead-up work after a lost kick-off from Melrose. That lead was doubled soon after when a rolling maul split to leave Ed Hasdell with 10 metres of open prairie, and he strolled in. The conversion was made by Alex Harley. Melrose then got a foothold, and after some sustained pressure in the Curry 22, flanker Xander McTaggart picked a great line to beat the Curry defenders and scored between the sticks. Try was converted by Logan Carroll. Further Rose pressure resulted in a scrum penalty. The ensuing line-out was driven and Will Ferry broke off to barge over. A further scrum penalty led to another 5 metre line-out where Melrose drove the ball in field, only for scrum half Doug Crawford to change direction and scamper over at the corner. Half-time at the Greenyards, Melrose 17, Curry 12.
Let's go to Mansfield Park. Hoyk against Heriots. Alan Lorimer.
Half-time score at Mansfield Park is Hoyk 7, Heriots 14. It looked a very one-sided match, but Heriots have not actually profited from their dominance in this first half. They could have scored another try, but it was chalked off. Their tries coming from, in fact, Henry Keston and Max Wallace. But Hoyk managed to get back into the game, and Kyle Brunton set up a good try for skipper Fraser Rennick, and that was converted by Brunton. So half-time score again at Mansfield Park is Hoyk 7, Heriots 14.
And don't forget, GHA against Glasgow Hawks kicks off at 5:15 at Braidholme. KELSO 10, Selkirk 7 is our commentary game. We'll be returning to Scott and David very shortly. Melrose 17, Curry 12, and Watsonians 17, Ayr 14. The half-time scores at the moment. In National 1, the latest we have is Biggar 5, Gordonian 7, Boroughmuir 3, Mar 7, Enbrackies 13, Stirling County 14. Both, of course, unbeaten this season. It's a tight one at Rayburn Place, just the 1 point separating the two sides. Gala 19, Jed Forest 17, equally tight there as well. And it's Glasgow Accies 12, Musselburgh 7 is a latest score. In National 2, GHK 26, Dundee 0, Howe 5 21, Stumel 14 and Kirkcaldy 10. Peebles 21 is a latest score. Peebles looking for their first win. Let's return to Poynder Park now. I think it's still half-time, but we can probably talk to Scott Tomlinson, our summariser for today. And Scott, thoughts on the first half, 10-7?
Yeah, Stuart, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been a great game, great border derby. Fair play to KELSO. They've had about 70% of possession and they've really been going at the Selkirk line. And truthfully, I think Selkirk's defended really well at times. And certainly been hats off to them. Brodie Allen made a fantastic tackle right in the corner, try-saving tackle on Dwayne Patterson, who's causing a lot of bother down this right-hand channel at the moment. Truthfully, the kick by Dwayne Patterson, which must have been near 45 metres, we were not very sure if it was with the wind or without the wind, but certainly it was a great kick, and that takes them into lead at 10-3, 10-7, and I think that's really important. I think it was important to go into that dressing room, whoever the team was in front. So a lot of nerves today. You can see that on the pitch, but no lack of effort, and it's certainly a really good game of rugby. As I come back out on the pitch just now, and my head says KELSO at the moment, but my heart says Selkirk.
Well, of course, our Rugby Radio Man of the Match, sponsored by Oak and Black, will be chosen by Scott and David today. But as he says, the guys are back on the pitch again. Let's hand you back to David Ferguson.
Thank you, Stuart. Yes, it's a fascinating game here at Poynder Park this afternoon. They're very well matched, these two sides. Kelso, we know they've had a couple of wins to start the season. In the border derbies, they've come out on the top in the right side against Hoyk and against Melrose down here at Poynder Park. They've lost away to GHA, and they lost away, of course, in the first game to Watsonians, whereas Selkirk have been trying to build into this season. They had 18-17 was their closest against Hoyk, down at Mansfield Park, but they've won the last 2 times here at Poynder Park. We never really talked about that before the game, but they did win here 22-12 last season, and they won 21-19 the season before here at Poynder Park. So they know what it takes to win tight matches, and this is tight. It's 10-7 at half time, just as I set the clock for the second half here. Referee David Young signalling that it's time to go, and you hear a whistle. We're into the second half. Dwayne Patterson kicks off with a big high ball into the wind. It holds up, looks like it holds up in the wind there, but it's taken in by Selkirk. Well caught, swirly ball in this wind. That will cause the kickers particularly, and the catchers, remember, a bit of a challenge. Often feel, Scott, as that the ball kicked away back down the field, that we have little sympathy sometimes for fullbacks trying to catch balls, very high balls in winds like this.
They're so skillful nowadays, fullbacks, that what we've got, such athletes within the air. And says Selkirk.
And there's Selkirk. Great pass by Hugo Alderson wide, and it's just kicked through. That's not Callum Anderson. It's kicked through. It's gone too long. James Thompson covers the winger, covers behind the Kelso post, just to touch down there behind the post. But
so I think what you're finding now is the wind certainly in Selkirk's favour, and it's going to be against Kelso. And that hit, the kick that Dwayne put up, just held in the air there. And unfortunately Kelso didn't deal with it, and Selkirk nearly scored off it.
Yeah, they did. They came back very quickly there, Kelso. Selkirk a burst up that left hand flank and then a kick forward, and you could see that they were not far away from getting to that. James Thompson saved Kelso there. Dwayne Patterson, a big dropout from his own line, but again it is holding up. It's gone beyond the 22, but it's coming backwards now. Selkirk are picking the ball up, attacking from the Kelso 10 metre line. There's a big tackle there by Cammy Thompson and Andrew Grant Sutty as he tries to get away, but it's held back on that 10 metre line. Andrew McComb. Second half looks like it's going to be just as topsy-turvy as the first, Scott, as Selkirk Hugo Alderson clears the ball from his 22 onto the Poynder stand.
2 fantastic tackles there by Cammy Thompson right in front of the stand side there that dictated the play there. One when you find Monroe dropped the ball, and then another one straight after it. So fantastic start by him, by Cammy Thompson.
Yeah, bearing in mind we will have the Oaken Black Man of the Match award now that Stuart mentioned at half time, and we'll be deciding on that. So another little award for these players to play for. A great throw in there from Ewan Knox. The line out, it goes to Ewan Thompson. Bruce McNeil takes it, he fires out the back to Andy Tate, the scrum half, who loops round. It goes into the middle of the field. Grant Shields now takes the ball on. He's charging towards the 22, Selkirk 22. Selkirk getting there quickly to get men wide as they know it's going to come out to the right hand side. It does. Archie Barber, elusive fullback, ball bobbles up in the tackle there, but Archie Barber manages to grab it back out of the air, and he gets tackled, brought to the ground into the ruck. It's moved back inside, just one place and another attack, but now it's coming a bit wider. Liam Herdman spins the ball out to Bruce McNeil there. He takes it, he's tackled, he goes down, but the ball's coming back quickly for Kelso. Adam Hall gives a big dummy there and goes into a gap, but he's eventually brought down, and he's tackled just there on the 22. The ball comes into Ewan Knox now, trying to get Selkirk player out of there. Taylor Wilson lying the wrong side. Oh, nice pass to Bruce McNeil, who comes onto the ball at pace to take it off Liam Herdman as Kelso stand off. Now they're into the 22, Kelso. Andy Tate looks around. Is there a wee gap there? Veteran scrum half Andy Tate, he knows how to look for gaps. He's held eventually, but he's managed to give another little attacking platform for Kelso. Referee David Young tells Jack Fisher to get back off that ball as he goes hunting, trying to turn the ball over. Comes back with Kelso, and again they're going through the phases here. Adam Hall, a nice wee jinking run. He managed to get round Brodie Allen, but he's brought to the ground eventually. The ball comes back now to Cammy Thompson. Big second row, a very underrated player in that Kelso team. Cammy Thompson puts a lot in attack and defence. Now the ball comes back. It's Ewan Thompson that takes it on now into the 22. Andy Tate fires the ball back again. It comes to the back. Dwayne Patterson has come in from this wing to get involved in the middle of the pitch. He's picked the ball up. He gets it further on. Now Will Jones stands a man down, and Will Jones is going to go round for a try. It's another try for Kelso. Another try for Will Jones. He scored in the first half from very close to the post from a tap penalty, and that time he's one of these players, Scott, that he's hard to bring down because he's got a low centre of gravity, ideal for an old-fashioned open side flanker, and he just knocked two men out of his way.
He knocked over Lachlan Ferguson in there, and then went round the outside, so he has got a wee bit of pace. What I really loved about Kelso there was his patience. The patience to keep the ball, keep the possession, and not just rush it, not just think that we need to push the boundaries a wee bit. They had a couple of little hooks out the back door, and then we had punches in there as well. So punches they came in a short line to try and take some players out there, and then that was enough just to cause the Selkirk defence under a lot of pressure. Selkirk are not looking to try and create turnovers; they're just trying to get back on their feet again at the moment and try and defend. And at the moment, I would say Selkirk is making far too many tackles, and they need to get their hands on the ball rather than Kelso dictate the play.
They are, and I think that's a difference I'm seeing Kelso in that composure, that patience to keep going through the phase, even when it looks like there's nothing on, nothing's really coming, and just trust your players, trust your teammates to make something happen. Dwayne Patterson, good kick that it just seems to fade over the top of the posts. No flags going up there, so no conversion this time.
Very good try, David.
It was a very good try, and well taken by Kelso. So they get the first score on the board in the second half. They finished with that penalty from Dwayne Patterson in the first half, but that's us 6 minutes into the second half here at Poynder Park, and the score is Kelso 15, Selkirk 7.
Let's find out what's happening at Netherdale. It's Gala against Jed Forest. Here's Sam Matthews.
We have just watched Kyle Scott, the tight head prop for Gala, cross over to get the bonus point. Cam Bryden is currently lining up the ball at the post just now. Gala received the kick-off in the second half, but they took it straight back down towards the Jed try line pretty quickly. A poor clearance kick from Jed met with a few more lazy errors and some bad penalties given away. A bit of sustained pressure, and Cam Bryden splits the kindling there as well. Takes the score to Gala 24, Jed 17. Gala have got the bonus point wrapped up at the start of the second half.
Certainly some improvement from the men in maroon. Of course, they did rather well at Musselburgh for most of the match, getting to 28-27 and getting a try bonus, and then just losing it in the last quarter of the match. But they're in front against Jed Forest, 24 points to 17. Latest in the Premiership, it's Hoyk 7, Heriots 14, Melrose 17, Curry 12 is the latest, and Watsonians 20, Ayr 14 is the latest score. Harry Clark penalty for Watsonians, pushing them out to a 6-point lead. In National 1, latest is Biggar 5, Gordonians 7, Boroughmuir 3, Mar 14, Edinburgh Accies 13, Stirling County 14, both undefeated before today. Gala 24, Jed Forest 17, and the latest at Annie's Land, Glasgow Accies 17, Musselburgh 7. In the National 2, GHK 33 now, Dundee 5, Howe 5 21, Stumel 14, and Kirkcaldy 15, Peebles 21 is the latest score. And down at the Greenyards, Melrose have just scored their bonus point try. They're now 24-12 up against Curry. Remember, Curry going 12-0 up very, very quickly. Well, it's been all Melrose since then, 24 points to 12. Let's return to Poynder Park.
Thank you, Stuart. Back at Poynder Park, we've got a scrum on halfway. Selkirk there, we've just got a try, so that excitement from a try from Will Jones, just 4 minutes into the second half. We are now 8 minutes into the second half here at Poynder Park, and that took it to Kelso 15, Selkirk 7, but it was still a very good, engrossing border derby here, no doubt. And you're feeling at the moment, Scott, there, as we've seen the ball coming out the back of that scrum, Bruce McNeill tackled quickly, Liam Herdman getting caught in traffic, that perhaps Kelso playing a bit much rugby in their own half at the moment.
Yeah, listen, it's exciting. It's great to be a Kelso supporter, just trying to play. But there was opportunities there, a scrum in the middle of the park. There was opportunities there just to maybe even kick a 50-22, stick it back down there, put all the pressure back on Selkirk. And I would reckon Bruce McNeill was asking for that, and it just didn't happen by the Kelso back division.
And that's the thing, Liam Herdman, a great standoff as well, still learning. There he goes for a big kick there, he's taken out a bit late by Corey Tate. Corey Tate laughs at the crowd as he does, the Poynder Park crowd on his back. The referee has actually reacted to it. Look, Corey Tate is gesturing to the officials. I think he's suggesting they're listening to the crowd.
They'll most definitely listen to the crowd there. Most definitely, but hey, listen, you just don't touch them, just stay well away from it. The kick was well gone as well, so and it's now Kelso in a great position to either kick the points or stick it in the bottom corner.
Yes, it looks like Dwayne Patterson is looking to stick it in the corner. He's having a wee look at the post, but I think Bruce McNeill I think Bruce McNeil's just chatting to Jack Fisher. I think they're having a bit of friendly banter between the two
Yeah.
sides there. But Dwayne kicks it into the corner. This time they certainly are going for another try. Kelso know that, and they'll have learned from games both here this season and from against Selkirk in the past, that you've got to be 2 or 3 tries ahead to be able to put a game to bed here in a border derby, because these teams will go all the way. They know Selkirk will go all the way to the final.
And then that'll be on Kelso's mind today, without a doubt. And Selkirk, obviously, with that defeat last week at GHA, is obviously playing on their mind as well. Being so many tries up, and then coming back and beating Selkirk last weekend, which was a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, it was indeed for them, and they know they need points. It's Liam Herdman in the middle, takes a little dummy. He looked like he was through, but he was caught they're now just about 15 metres from the post, off the back of that line out that Kelso had from the penalty. Bruce McNeil in the middle of the park. Now it's Cammy Thompson wrestling his way. He's standing up there, 2 players trying to wrestle that ball off him. Goes to the ground, it comes back out to Nick Barnes. He's done a lot of work today as well, playing tight head prop, and he's really a hooker. Just a hooker, I say. He's really a hooker, but the Kiwi has done a great job at tight head prop today. Scrums have been pretty solid. It's come back now. It's Billy McNeil. He's wrestling this way and that way. He made some good ground. It's coming back to the backs now. Goes to Dwayne Patterson. Moves it wide to Archie Barber. There's no real way through there, but he jinks backwards and forwards. Forces a good tackle from Hugo Alderson to get him down. It comes back to Bruce McNeil. Bruce McNeil has men outside on the right hand side, but now it comes to the backs outside, and it's Will Jones actually was in the middle of the back line there. He took the ball high, manages to get through a couple of yards. Now it's back out to Ewan Thompson. Big second row, finds himself on the right hand side of that attack out there on the right flank, but it's coming back now. There's a good mix in the forwards and backs taking the ball up in this Kelso attack. They're in the 22. They're trying to get the ball nearer the post. They're now just about 10 metres from the Selkirk post. The ball comes out, it's called for by Dwayne Patterson. He gets it. He gives a pass to Archie Barber. He flights it over the Selkirk defender. Archie Barber pricked a perfect line where he stepped in off his left foot to come into the gap between 2 players, and the pass was just perfectly judged.
Hats off to Liam Herdman. Beautiful little pass there, just engaging that defence, pulling them onto him, and then just beating this beautiful little pass to Archie Barber. At present, Kelso are bullying the Selkirk Park. That's where it's heading at the moment. They're totally dictating things here, and the Selkirk defence now is starting to. They're on the back foot constantly the whole time. We've only made one change within that within the Selkirk Park as well, when they changed with Petty. So there's a full Selkirk bench here that don't even look engaged at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how Selkirk got a reply to this, because if not, it's going to be 20-30 points the way Kelso are playing at the moment.
And that might surprise some. Border derby, they're always generally close. It is 20 points to 7 now to Kelso, with this conversion to come from Dwayne Patterson, left hand side, about 15 or so metres to the left hand side of the post, just on the 22 with his right foot. Goes quiet here in the crowd as he begins his run up along the 22 metre line, kicks it very straight. We've got a great view of it from here in the middle of the stand. His right foot swings right through it, straight through the middle of the post. One of the best goal kickers in Scottish rugby, there's no doubt about that, Dwayne Patterson. And that does give them quite an advantage here now. 22 points to 7 here to Kelso. And Scott, what have Selkirk got to do in the next 5-10 minutes to get, because this game, as you say, could go away from them?
Yeah, they need to freshen things up. I would suggest there's a lot of missed tackles starting to happen. It has to be because of Selkirk have constantly been making tackles right from the off today, and we're starting to slip off them a wee bit, and Kelso are starting to control the game up front. Andy Tate's having a very good game. Herdman's almost just the link. However, that beautiful piece of skill just now that scored the try for.
Yeah, it was a beautiful bit of skill. And there we've just got they're varying it, Kelso, and Andy Tate putting the ball up, high ball, James Thompson onto it, but he loses it. Selkirk managed to get the ball back, and now it's a chance for Selkirk to see if they can put something together in terms of some real sustained pressure in the Kelso half, because they need to keep the ball in hand. They need to be able to show that they've got something to come back with and give themselves after, and they're doing it now. Josh Welsh gets the ball wide from Callum Anderson. He attacks up the right hand touchline right in front of the Poynder Park crowd here in the big stand. stand, gets the 22, comes back now inside. Big stand, we stand off. Maurice Clementson moves it quickly, takes the ball and feeds it quickly, like you expect of Aussies. He's very slick with his passing, Clementson at 10. It comes back out now. Andrew Grant Sutty looked like he was getting away, just took it a bit light there, I think, and didn't expect Adam Hall to bring him down. I think he thought he'd got round, he's brought to the ground, it's got back in, and now it's a chance for Kelso's defence to show what kind of quality they have, what kind of power they have, because Selkirk are making them work right across the park. Liam Herdman comes out to try and make a tackle there, but he's pulled back. He's calling the referee for screaming for some kind of infringement from Selkirk, but no, referee David Young waves him on. Now it's back to Kieran Westlake, and this is where Selkirk have to work as hard as Kelso were working harder. Get men off the ground, get round the corners and keep making the runs, because at the moment it looks like they're running out of ideas, and they've actually been moved a good 10 metres back from the 22. Kieran Westlake again, who's closer to the Kelso 10 metre line, as he picks that one up and he tries to go forward. Eventually the whistle sounds and it is a penalty this time against Kelso, but Selkirk struggling there a bit to try and find a gap.
It's a difficult watch, isn't it? It's a difficult watch. If anything, we were going backwards at times. Kelso's defence was good. You can see they were up for that set there, and ultimately they should have actually just left the ball and let them have it. They gave away a silly penalty, which has put Selkirk back in. Callum Anderson just knocked the ball about 10 metres away from the Kelso line off that penalty there now. So Selkirk are back in the hunt here.
Yes, they are indeed, and yes, you're looking at a good.
This is a huge set, David. A huge set here for Selkirk to get right off this line out.
Yes,
a big moment in the game, I would say at present.
Yeah, and it is important. This is still early in the game. We're still talking just 10 minutes into the second half. In fact 15 minutes into the second half here at Poynder Park, but we know that Selkirk are going to have to hit back now, because they're going to have to make their presence felt. They need to get some points on the board, and they have. I just thought they were going through the motions there, but actually Kelso seemed to back off from that.
It was a great driving line out. Corey Tate just spilled off the side there, and I don't know who was. I think it might have been Monroe Job, just hit that direct line really, really hard. Bruce McNeil was out the game with Corey Tate running hard into that first carry, and that's a great riposte from Selkirk.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, we were talking about being 24/7 there for with that conversion from Dwayne Patterson for Kelso, and we knew that Selkirk had to come back. They had to show they had something in this middle part of the game, because it would have been easy for Kelso to then just kick the ball down the field and play for territory and make it hard for Selkirk. Selkirk had to hit back, and they've done that, and we expect that in a Borders derby, and we've seen it. A good try there, and now we've got a chance with Hugo Alderson on the far side to convert.
And Lachlan Ferguson's off and Blake Cullen's on. Blake's one of the guys that I coach within the seconds team, and absolute lightning, this player. So be interested to see how he goes against a good winger and Adam Hall defensively and James Thompson.
Yeah, so we just played now. That conversion slides wide past the posts. 17 minutes in the second half here, and at the moment still Kelso very much in the firm, got the game in their hands, but Selkirk are coming back at them. Hit score here at the moment, as I say, 17 minutes into the second half. It is Kelso 24, Selkirk 12.
OK, let's go back to Netherdale. Gala in the lead the last time we heard. Sam Matthews.
Yep, you're right. And young Jack Niven, he has been pulling the strings and being a lot of the pass to assist player. He finally got himself on the score sheet with a try of his own, taking the score to 33 points to Gala, Jed on 17. Since then it's been kind of slower a bit. I think Gala now just looking to see out the game, do what they need to do, get players doing what they have to do, the basics well, and really just refine their skills. Jed, on the other hand, looking to get a bit more possession. Aaron Weatherhead's clearly been given a bit more freedom to try the outstanding plays as Gala just get themselves back underway with a scrum in their own half, but they're making a break for it, and Ben Gill still looking to run, but it seems to be all Gala in control here now, and Jed trying anything they can to get some points. Gala 33, Jed 17.
Hoyk 7, Heriots 14 is the latest that we have. Melrose 24, Curry 24 now. Rhys Davis and Dan Halkin have got a couple of tries. So Watsonians 20, Ayr 21, Lewis McNamara getting a score for Ayr. That's their third try, and they're 1 point in the lead. The game being played at Marside. In National 1, still bigger 5, Gordonian 7's the latest score. Buttermuir 3, Mar 21, Embrackis 13, Stirling 14, Gala 33, Jed Forest 17, as we've just heard, and Glasgow Accies 17, Musselburgh 7. In National 2, Falkirk 14, Newton Stewart 17, GHK 33, Dundee 5, Howe 5 21, Stumel 14, and Kirkcaldy 15, Peebles 29. Let's return to Poynder Park.
Thank you, Stuart. Yeah, just to clarify that, Dwayne Patterson missed the conversion of the Will Jones try. He did convert the try by Archie Barber, so it's actually 22 points to Kelso in this second half. But so it's a wee bit closer than we left you with. It's 22 to Kelso, 12 to Selkirk at the moment, and we are just in the midway point of the second half, 20 minutes in. Big hit there on James Thompson, the winger, needing a bit of treatment, but the game's going on as he's holding his ribs. Looks like he might have to be counting them. As the ball goes up from Dwayne Patterson, a high ball. It's becoming a really testy game here, but as I say, we had that try from Monroe Job there that cut the deficit, just as it looked like Kelso were getting away at 22-7, cuts it back to 22-12, so only 10 points in the game. And as we know with Selkirk, they have got a number of dangerous runners, dangerous finishers. That 10 points will seem that it's within reach for them, I'm pretty sure. Scott, what are we seeing now? I mean, the game's becoming a wee bit scrappy. I'm sure that's not suiting either team.
Yeah, my old coach Kev Barry used to say we didn't want to be tuckers, either tuck the ball under the arm. And Kelso have went down that phrase the last 2 or 3 phases. They don't want to push the pass, they've just got to carry really, really hard and find some holes and see if we can get some soft shoulders on the Selkirk side. Selkirk have turned a couple of the kick chase game. Selkirk have kind of won that with Callum Anderson and now put themselves back in the 20 to Kelso 22 as Kelso makes some changes.
Yeah, Kelso making changes. Nick Barnes coming off and Angus McGregor going on. Confusion for supporters. Angus McGregor wearing the 2 jersey on his back. He's coming on to play at tight head prop. James Thompson coming off on the wing as well. Hamish Tweedy going on, and a change at scrum half as well with Andy Tate coming off and youngster Will Tweedy coming on for him. I know that they like to rotate players about, but
yeah, all 3 of the Kelso players that just came off the park have played well today. Andy Tate, especially James Thompson, has played well in the back division too.
They have indeed, and Andy Tate's controlled a lot of that. So you now that's up to Will Tweedy to show that he can step up and he can take on and
a huge part of the game.
Yeah,
there's a lot at stake today.
I mean, Andy Tate and Bruce McNeil work really well at the back of the scrum. They talk to each other a lot, and Will Tweedy's learning a lot. He's a good, skillful young player, but there's a good chance for him to make sure they're playing the right areas of the pitch. And as we say, that it's a big high ball from him that goes downfield, and it's just on the field. It's a mistake by him. It's very close, but he kicked the ball, high ball from just outside the 22 as his pack will go forward. And he puts it in the touch.
It's great for Nicky and Matty to bring these players into the game at this time. It's the only way they've got to learn as well. I think it's great for you see that more and more just now at the moment. Some young players coming through and playing at the higher level, which is great.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, and there are some great young players coming through in the game in the Borders, and if they don't get the chance here, where will they get the chance? It's the biggest thing we talk about a lot, Scott, isn't it? The number of great young players there are in Scottish rugby who we pick out or get plucked out of the game at 15, 16, 17, 18, go into an academy system, and we never see them for 3 or 4 years. They don't get the chance to play rugby. Speaking to Mark Moncrief the other day, everyone will remember from Gala days, his son Mark Nairn Moncrief, he told me he played 12 games last season, but not one full game. All of that was made up of 80 minutes, of 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 12 minutes he got with Kelso.
And how does he serve his apprenticeship if he's only playing 12 games a year? How does he learn his trade of playing a winger stroke centre? It's really difficult, so it's great. And this level of rugby, for me, the Premier level in Scotland is high. I think we do ourselves a disservice at times. I think the level we play at here is a good standard of rugby, and it's great to see young players getting a chance.
Yeah, it is, and as we say that, it's young players from Selkirk that are moving the ball quickly, but it goes out wide to Andrew Grant-Sutty. He throws the ball picked up by Will Jones. Red scrum cap, you can't miss Will Jones, the Welshman who joined Kelso this summer. Open side flanker, lives down north of England and works there. That's been a good signing for Kelso. The ball comes infield, it's held in that ruck. The ball's coming back. Will Tweedy dribbles it out with his foot, just pushes it out to the final foot of Bruce McNeil, and then puts a nice high ball up. Hamish Tweedy is on that, his cousin is after that. He goes for it with Callum Anderson. Callum Anderson got it, but seemed to knock it back. But the referee David Youngs decided that Hamish Tweedy's arm around his neck maybe wasn't the best place.
Yeah, Will Jones is struggling a wee bit there as well. But what you're finding is the pace of the game has dropped considerably. and KELSO have reverted to almost a box kicking game at present, which is playing into Selkirk's hands. I think the territory, certainly the Selkirk territory, seems to be a lot better this second half, and just winning that kick battle at the moment.
Yeah, they are, and it's that. I mean, it's that management of the game that's so important, is it? We talk about playing exciting, entertaining rugby. The game stopped at the moment for a couple of injuries, a bit of treatment going on the pitch. But we talk about moving the ball and finding gaps and putting boys into space. But actually, being able to play the game when it is quiet, when things aren't going your way, in the right places, can be as important to winning a game as those little bits of flair.
Playing in the right areas of the field, yeah. So at the moment, KELSO are kicking down Callum Anderson's throat, and every opportunity Callum's got to stick it into the corner back to them, he'll do that with interest. And listen, rugby's actually quite a simple sport, but we make it hard for ourselves at times, you know. And it only it's a bit of momentum as well, you know. Selkirk have came back and got us all back into the game, and that momentum is started to shift just slightly.
Mm-hmm. And we saw that in the first half. You know, you saw that with KELSO, had all the momentum first 10-15 minutes, didn't score any points. Selkirk got a bit of momentum, scored the first try of the game. Josh Welsh came from nothing, really good chip and chase that he played from his own, almost from sort of halfway, scored a good try. Then KELSO got it back. KELSO get some points on the board, and they kept that momentum into the start of the second half, and you know, scoring the try through Will Jones and Archie Barber certainly gives them the advantage. But at the moment, you know, we're seeing Selkirk coming back, and just as you say,
it's a 50-metre kick right on the money. Absolutely on the money.
Great kick there. Was it Hugo Alderson? No,
it was Callum Anderson, yeah. So
Callum it was, of course.
A line out 5 metres from the KELSO line.
So right from halfway, game gets restarted with a penalty there to Selkirk, and when you've got a kicker like Callum Anderson, yeah, it goes from your own half to just beyond 5 metres from the KELSO line out here for Selkirk. There's a great chance for them, but the ball's overthrown, charged down, and it goes back to Selkirk. Selkirk have got the ball inside the 22, so they've fluffed the line out, but they've got a second chance here, Scott.
Yep.
Bruce is quite a player, isn't he? You know, as a tight head prop, as I say, not the biggest, but he's a good rugby player.
Yeah, he lost a fair bit of weight a few years ago, but he's still actually putting it about.
Still a strong boy.
I watched him a couple of years ago going against Gordon Reid, the ex-internationalist, and he absolutely destroyed him in the scrum, because he's so wee you can't compete with him at times.
Yeah, and he gets about.
Here we go.
And it's Selkirk on the far side of the 22, pick the ball up, but they're tackled into touch there on the far side, just as you got that little bit of hope that somebody had found a gap. Defences have been really good today on both sides, there's no doubt about that, and the way KELSO have managed to get through to get their tries is by going to 20 phases plus and keeping going and working that defence and tiring it and finding a gap, because it's not easy. There hadn't been gaps in 2 or 3 phases.
Yes, and I think though in saying that, now the hunger it seems to be from the Selkirk side at the moment, and KELSO just need to get that momentum back again. And there's definitely been a shift just prior to that penalty kick to the touchline by Callum Anderson. The Selkirk pack were huddled together and really striving to try and make sure they knew what they were doing in the line out, and KELSO was spread out. You know, and that sometimes that can galvanise them. There's Luke Petty coming back onto the field again, with Bruce Riddle coming off. So you know there'll be an added 18, 19, 20 stone there with Petty coming back onto the field again.
Yeah, indeed, that makes a bit of a difference, doesn't it? So yeah, Bruce Riddle having put in a great shift, gets a bit of a break. Luke Petty, big man Luke Petty, ex-Gala forward of course from Clovenfords, but his mother's from Selkirk, isn't he? So he's got Selkirk connections.
That's right, we'll take that every day of the week.
Will Jones is the one who goes up, open side flanker. He's been all over the place today, takes that line out, comes down. It seems to be getting held up, a bit of a maul, but Selkirk holding up, but it's come back on Selkirk side, on the KELSO side. They've set up a ruck with that now, inside their own 22. I think the ball will come back here for Dwayne Patterson to put it down, but no, they're going to drive again. Holding the ball in, Dwayne Patterson wants players as far away from him, the Selkirk forwards, as they possibly can be. Comes back to him now and he kicks it down the field, down the touchline. That's a great kick, goes right to halfway. Selkirk not too happy about the fact that one of the KELSO backroom team stopped that ball in touch with his foot, which means Selkirk can't take a quick throw in from the side. No.
Yeah, the referee's got to have a word. I think it was Mr. Sweeney, I think. He's got to have a word with him just now.
Yeah, he's having a wee word with Barry Sweeney on the far side to say, don't do that. You can't stop the ball, because that does stop Selkirk going for a quick throw in. So we'll, I think we'll pause there and we'll get to some of the scores from around the country. At the moment, we're looking at Yeah, we're getting a wee bit scrappy here, but these sides are certainly fighting. We've got 10 minutes left here at Poynder Park. We're on the half hour of second half mark, 70 minutes played, and the score currently is Kelso 22, Selkirk 12.
Well, I certainly predicted lots of scores at Netherdale today. Let's find out what's happening with Sam Matthews.
Yep, sure, you were absolutely right. Gala clearly chasing the big 50 bomb. They've now got themselves up 45 points to 24 against Jed. When you last came to me, I told you that Gala were looking to sort of refine their skills and make sure they were doing the basics correctly. They clearly got bored, and it all came through Ben Gill scything through the Jed defence, and then he popped the ball off to his number 8, Jamie Bell, who got himself on the score sheet. That has just been followed up as well by a try through sub Gregor Mean, a lovely jinking run that got himself just past the last defender, and he went down over the try line. Jed have got one back since you've last been here as well. The ever-present Paulo Ferreira getting one of his staple tries, picking from the ruck 5 metres out after some consistent play, and as I mentioned earlier, Aaron Weatherhead has been kind of given free licence due to the current score and the time left on the board. But some exciting rugby being played from both sides. As I mentioned earlier, the youngsters, they're still doing themselves a service regardless of what jersey they're wearing. It's been a really good Borders derby, and it has been a real highlight for the Border clubs. Current score, Gala 45, Jed 24.
Hoyk 7, Heriots 21 is the latest from Mansfield Park in the Premiership. As we've heard, it's Kelso 22, Selkirk 12, just to confirm that. Melrose 31, Curry 24. Remember, Melrose on a hat-trick. They did the double last year over Curry, and Sam Derrick has just put them in the lead. It's a real ding-dong over there because Curry went 12-0 up, and then it became 12-12, and then 24-12 to Melrose, then 24 all, but Sam Derrick has edged Melrose in front. They're in the lead at the moment, 31 points to 24. At Marside, Watsonians 20, Ayr with the try bonus 28. Jamie Shedden, Lewis McNamara, Bobby Beattie and Stu Allison getting over for Ayr. Harry Fisher getting a couple for Watsonians. That's in the Premiership. Don't forget Ayr, the only unbeaten team with 100% in that league. National 1, it's Boroughmuir 3, Mar 21, the latest we have. Gala 45, Jed Forest 24, and Glasgow Aki 17, Musselburgh 14. Rory Watt going in to follow up a try that Bob Stott had earlier for Musselburgh in that game at Anniesland. Falkirk 14, Newton Stewart 22, GHK 33, Dundee 10. It's Howarth 21, Stewmel 14, and Kirkcaldy 15, Peebles 29. Let's return to Poynder Park.
Yes, thank you, Stuart. A lot going on around the grounds there, some great scores, interesting scores, and here at Selkirk, who are making a play to see if they can pull this game back. It's, as you said earlier, Kelso 22, Selkirk 12. We've got 8 minutes left of this game here at Poynder Park. Selkirk attacking the club rooms here at Poynder Park, down towards the flag. They've got the wind at their back, and Selkirk certainly making a good fist of it now, Scott.
Yeah, they're looking hungry. They just pushed Kelso off the ball, that scrum there.
Now Kieran Westlake, number 8, loves a bit of contact in there. Takes 2 men to stop him. Selkirk are now attacking, and Josh Big, second row, Jack Fisher, who also takes a couple of players to bring him down, and that creates space out wide as Selkirk now move the ball across the 22 out to the backs, but Kelso defence are there. If they could have got it wide, the Callum Anderson, they've got it to Callum. Callum kicks ahead and he's chasing, he's winning the chase. Not sure the referee is suggesting he didn't. It was a great bit of play by Callum Anderson. He got there. I think what's cost him, unfortunately, is his body had slid across the dead ball line there while he reached back and touched the ball down. He'd gone beyond the ball to try and stop it, and the referees decided he was out of play there.
To be fair, the referee was in a lot better position than he was for the first try, which I actually think, that was tight as well. It was tight as well.
Josh
the
Welsh
got himself in a really good position to see what was needed.
Right on the line, and there doesn't seem to be any argument from Callum Anderson. You can often tell when you look at the players themselves. He's come back, but that was a great bit of the type of solo skill that you see from Callum Anderson, and really exciting player.
And the tide's changing. The more and more of the game goes on, Kelso are feeling the pressure a wee bit. Just that 10-point lead is just not enough for them at the moment, and Selkirk are banging on the door.
Yeah, they certainly are, and Callum Anderson denied there. That should be a warning to Kelso. But you were just saying earlier, Scott, we were talking about it when we were just off air, that Kelso are looking a bit tight, they're looking a bit nervous.
Yeah.
They're not being quite as expansive as they were, holding the ball in, and maybe that's making it a bit easier for Selkirk.
I think the last two games at Selkirk at Poynder Park. Selkirk have pinched them right on the death in both games, and I think KELSO are just feeling that a wee bit there. They just need another score, KELSO, just to keep Selkirk at bay. But at the moment, the longer it goes on, Selkirk are certainly looking the more hungry.
And they need some territory. I mean, we've had a bit of a period here. It's been on the halfway line. It's been in the KELSO half. We've not seen much action in the last 20 minutes down in the Selkirk half, and we've only got 5 minutes of this half to go. You do have a feeling that KELSO will just try and see it out. There's a drop kick from the 22 there by Dwayne Patterson, but it holds up in the wind and comes back. And in fact, he was wanting to keep that in play. It wasn't a penalty to touch. He was drop kicking it, and it comes all the way back because it went straight into touch from where he kicked in the 22. Another indication of that nervousness in the KELSO ranks.
And Selkirk will be absolutely loving this line out. I would imagine they'll look to try and drive and have a peel at some stage with young Harris Ross coming on the field.
Yes, a youngster for KELSO, Harris Ross, quite a versatile player, can play in different positions. He's coming on for Ewan Knox here at hooker, but he can play hooker, he can play in the back row as well. Youngster, only
he's 19. Played well, Ewan Knox. Yeah, he's played well today as well.
He's a good game, but a bit of fresh legs on there. Youngster Harris Knox gets a chance to see what it's all about in a Borders derby. And it's Selkirk are coming up. They take the line out, they drive, the forwards are held up, but then it goes out to the backs. It's moved to Callum Anderson. What a great pass wide to Josh Welsh on the right touchline. He's tackled there by Archie Barber. Somebody came, Hamish Tweedy coming in flying behind him. He comes to ground. Great pass in there to Kieran Westlake. That's a good 10-metre pass in off the right hand by Hugo Alderson, and it's back at the midfield. Bruce McNeil making a nuisance of himself in the middle, but Selkirk are moving that ball fast across the line, right across to the left hand side now of the 22, having already attacked down that right hand touchline with Josh Welsh. Now Selkirk got a bit of momentum, the forwards are getting in there. They're only 5 metres away from that KELSO line. Bear in mind they're only 10 points behind, 22 to 12 they're behind Selkirk here into the last few minutes at Poynder Park. Selkirk with the ball, they're attacking in that KELSO 22. KELSO having to work very hard to try and to keep them at bay. The ball comes back to Corey Tate. He loses the ball, it bounces on the ground, but it goes backwards. Still got it. He's being held there by Hamish Tweedy, but it comes back. Kieran Westlake comes out the ruck to Kieran. He picks up the ball, but he's tackled before he can get very far at all. They're about 15 metres from the KELSO line here. Ball come back into the middle. KELSO working hard in defence, but Selkirk, they are not giving up the fight here this afternoon. We've just got 3 minutes to go and the ball comes back. Selkirk still in the 22. What a great pass again out wide to Josh Welsh. He flicks it inside and goes down for a try, but the assistant referee had his flag in there pretty quickly, pretty early. And that is cheered. You never hear an assistant referee's decision cheered as much by a crowd here at Poynder Park. I think there's as much relief in that. Callum Anderson did so well to get that ball wide to Josh Welsh, then to get round the ball back in, and it was Taylor Wilson who was going over for the try.
Yeah, I think
just in
when
touch.
You see when it flows from left to right for Selkirk, Josh Welsh certainly has. He's a very experienced player, but he's really strong as well. So Dwayne Patterson and Archie Barber have got their hands full in that bottom corner. But just like that first half, when we talked about Brodie Allen making an excellent tackle in that corner flag, the same's been done by the KELSO back division as well. 15 and Archie Barber and Dwayne Patterson. It's Selkirk have made another couple of changes, so they've brought young Foster on and they've brought young McClimate on as well, the two young farmers, and they'll bring a wee bit added pace to the game as well.
Oliver McClimate coming on, yes, and Cammy Forster. Yeah, you like the look of them, Scott?
Yeah, they're good young players. Coached them all my days, to be fair, so they're good young players that will make a difference to Selkirk over the coming years.
Is there a sense that they're leaving it late for bringing these boys on, young legs? I mean, there's only a couple of minutes to go.
I wouldn't like to comment on that, David. You put me in a horrible situation.
You just wonder sometimes with substitutes, you do think using them tactically, using them to freshen legs. Sometimes I think managers and coaches leave it a bit late, but of course Sesh Henderson not here today with Selkirk. He's at the wedding of his own daughter today, so he's not here. It's Michael Jaffrey and Aaron McComb who are been in charge of Selkirk this afternoon, and there'll be a lot that will please them in this game, but they'll be gutted. If this is another fifth defeat, it'll be hard to go away with that today. They deserve a bit more.
It's another game with quite a lot of pressure in the second half, and not counting for very much at the present, but I mean You know, what have we got? 3 minutes left or something like that. You know, there's actually still, believe it or not, a wee bit to play in the game.
Yeah, we're actually into the last minute. Depends how much time.
Yeah.
Going to add on, but it's a Selkirk line out. Corey Tate finds his man in the middle, and it comes across into the midfield, and there's a good run in there, but well tackled. God, brought to ground very quickly there. Andrew McComb, the big lock again. He gets into midfield. He takes the ball up, trucks up. Now it's moved wide. Oh, but that was a strange floated pass. Seemed to catch on the wind and actually go forward. Referee decides it's not going forward. Selkirk still have the ball. Almost picked up by Kelso. It was so far forward there, but it comes back. But Selkirk have been moved back by that defence all the way back to the halfway line. Now they're attacking. It's Ross Nixon that throws it out wide to Josh Welsh. Ross Nixon coming on in the midfield there, but good feverish defence there by Kelso. Selkirk supporters not happy, but Will Tweedy, one of the smallest men in the pitch, gets over the top, gets his body in a good position, and he gets rewarded.
Yeah, he was brave, wasn't he? You know, right in front of the stand side. You could ultimately say that Kelso players weren't rolling away, but then at the end of the day, Selkirk need to address that and make sure they wipe out the player. Selkirk, they need the ball, so they need to look after the possession better than what we did there.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. They gave the opportunity to Kelso to get in.
And the Kelso crowd knew it was such a massive turnover, and it was a huge part of the game there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's all Kelso ball, all Selkirk ball. They were working it through the phases. Now we're into injury time in this game here at Poynder Park. Kelso lead by 22 points to 12. 10 points have an advantage. It looks like it's Kelso's game here. We've got Angus Milne on there in the second row as well. Another youngster for Kelso. A lot of great youngsters we're seeing on the park. Good, promising players, and it's Kelso that are taking the ball forward now again. Very unhappy Selkirk down there on the touchline. The coaches demonstrating with the referee, but the crowd are loving this line out maul from Kelso that has gone a full 15 metres down the park into the Selkirk half, and the Kelso fans will be happy if the ball stays with them, but it comes back out to Frankie Robson. Will Tweedy finds the big centre, barreling forward another 5 metres. It comes back now. Will Jones, what a game he has had today. Will Jones, he's been everywhere. He picks up that ball and he goes another 4 or 5 metres forward before he's brought to ground. Comes back now. Ewan Thompson again. He's had a good game for Kelso today. A lot of big performers for Kelso out in the park. Hammy Thompson, another one. Looks like he's taking the sleeve off that jersey for some reason. It's well up round his throat. And there's Will Tweedy who makes a break. The wee young scrum half gets a good 10 metres before he's snagged. Then Will Jones is on his shoulder to pick the ball up off the ground, go again. Then Grant Shields still on there again. He's putting a great shift today, but this time Selkirk are over the top of the ball in that ruck. They were quick onto Grant Shields, got themselves in a good position over the top in front of the referee. I have to say, David Young, the referee, he's been on everything today. He's close to a lot of the action.
Yeah, that's happy. That's scrum half, ex-scrum half, so you would expect that, and you would expect him to know round about the ruck area and what the right calls were. A bit old-fashioned gun by Kelso there, just to keep ball. Which worked really well until they got penalised there. Now it's now back in play with Kelso with Dwayne Jackson.
Yeah, Dwayne Patterson there. Dwayne's running it back. He's come all the way back from his own 22. He's managed to get to halfway there. Callum Anderson had the kick. I think he spoke to the ref about the time left, but Selkirk picked it up, turned the ball over, off they go. A good little break there by Cammy Forster, and he's on the ball and it comes back. They're out to the back. Ross Nixon out to Callum Anderson, and Callum Anderson escapes the tackle from Adam Hall, and he's off. He ushers Josh Welsh back inside in the scissors. Josh comes in off the wing, he takes the ball, but he's brought down, as you can hear from the Kelso crowd. A big cheer for the tackle that comes in from Will Jones that brings Selkirk to an end, but they've moved the ball wide left, and then the ball's dropped. Oh, you could hear the reaction of the crowd, and that is the final whistle. That was why there was such a massive cheer. Selkirk had to do something with that there, even to get a bonus point in the end. Sadly, they don't manage to do that. Ball lost there in the end. Kelso hung on. Kelso did what they had to do there towards the end to snuff out that game, and they'll be delighted. Here at full time at Poynder Park, the game finishes, Stuart, Kelso 22, Selkirk 12.
Well, we'll certainly be getting some reaction from that derby, and of course that means that Kelso have actually won all 3 border derbies all at home for this season, so that's some effort for them. But once again, for Selkirk point of view, 5 losses out of 5 games. Let's go to Netherdale, find out if it's all over there. It's Gallagher against Jed Forest. Last I'd heard it was something like 83 points worth. Sam Matthews.
you can make that 88 points. Now Matthew Beaton has just had a breakaway try for Jed. Conversion still to come from Finn Scott, and he seems like he's quite far away from the touchline, but he is a very successful goal kicker, so I won't preempt what the score is going to be, but it currently sits as we just tick over into the red. Gala 52, Jed 36 as Finn Scott lines up to the post. But what an afternoon it's been here. Jed, fair play to them, they've never said die at all. Shows it getting the final points of the game. That gets them their 5th try of the afternoon, so they secure a bonus point as well, and I believe that points difference could actually help them stay above Gala in the National 1 table, as Finn Scott, fair play to him, splits the kindling on the 5 metres in from the touchline, goes straight between the posts. Score currently sits Gala 52, Jed 38.
Right, let's have a look at some of these other scorelines at the moment. These are latest scores. Hawick 14, Heriots 21. As we've just confirmed, Kelso 22, Selkirk 12, a full-time scoreline at Poynder Park in our commentary match. It's Melrose 31, Curry 36 now. Ed Hadsell getting a try. Fraser Sayers getting a try for Curry as well. 31-36, that is a latest score. A real ding-dong at the Green Yards. Ian Hurd is there for us. Watsonians 25, Ayr 28 is a latest score, and it's full time at the Green Yards. Melrose 31, Curry 36, so Melrose getting 2 points out of that one, but certainly back at home once again doing tremendous stuff, and plenty of tries for them today. But it's Curry who will go away with 5 points in that one. As I say, Watsonians 25, Ayr 28 is a latest score, and Hugh Brown is at Marside for that one. Another close encounter at the top of the table. Into National 1, and Boroughmuir 10, Mar 21 is a latest score. Watsonians 25, Ayr 35. Scott Watson has scored a try converted by himself, so it's still a latest score, but now 10 points clear at Marside, and that in fact is full time. So Watsonians 25, Ayr 35. It means the Bill McLaren Shield will go to Millbrae for the first time since, we believe, 2018. No doubt Hugh Brown will sort that out and confirm it later on, but that is a full-time result now. Watsonians 25, Ayr 35. Enbrackies 23, Stirling County 25 is a latest score. The two unbeaten teams there. As we've just heard, Gala 52, Jed Forest 38 in that one. 90 points at Netherdale, and it's still going on. We have a latest score from Anniesland. Glasgow Accies 41, Musselburgh 14, and it's full-time at Netherdale at last. Gala 52, Jed Forest 38. In National 2, Falkirk 21, Newton Stewart 29 is a full-time result. GHK 40, Dundee 10 is the latest score, and it's all over at Beveridge Park. Kirkcaldy 29, Peebles 29. So a draw for Peebles once again. So close for them, but not any cigar. So those are the latest scores. We'll come back very, very shortly with reaction and also the final results.
This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
When it's time to celebrate the big wins, on and off the pitch, choose Oaken Black, one of the UK's leading suppliers of sustainable medals, trophies and gifts. Great moments deserve to be remembered, with custom designs made just for your club, school or business. Oaken Black. Celebrate, acknowledge, inspire. Find out more at oakenblack.com.
Oak and Black. This is Rugby Radio. Rugby Radio.
Well, of course, in National 1, there was an unbeaten team called Embra Academicals against an unbeaten team called Stirling County. It's ended. They're both still unbeaten. Embrackies 30, Stirling County 30 in National 1. What a game that's been at Rayburn Place, and the lead apparently changed hands 6 times. Absolutely extraordinary. Now, how of Fife 36, Stuart's Melville 52. Lots of points there at Duffus Park. That is a full-time result now. And I think we can go back to Poynder Park, as you heard earlier. 22 points to 12 was the score. I understand the Rugby Radio Man of the Match, sponsored by Oaken Black, was Will Jones. Let's return there with David Ferguson.
We do have Callum Anderson, who played a really good game for Selkirk today. He was one of the key players in the Selkirk side this afternoon, but you must be so disappointed, Callum, to put so much into that game and come away on the wrong side of 22-12 defeat this afternoon.
Yeah, although the scores are a lot different to last week, it's probably a similar situation. We played a really good first half, I thought, to into that win, to only be trailing by 3. We kind of saw that as a win. Came back out second half and just didn't quite execute when we needed to, and fair play to KELSO, they did when they had chances.
How much of a factor was the wind in that game? It was difficult to tell from up here, but it was clear when we saw Dwayne Patterson go for a penalty from 45 metres that it was an advantage.
It was a bit of a crosswind. It kind of feeds into that bottom corner of the car park. It's not straight up and down, but yeah, it definitely does factor in when you're trying to clear your lines and things like that, and just kind of make your way up the pitch.
There was a lot big good spells in that game, and for long spells it was a really good border derby. There was a lot of good entertaining rugby. You were punching up there, moving the ball wide. What do you think was the difference in that second half that meant you didn't quite get the points from a good lot of pressure you had in the KELSO half?
Just execution, I think. We're getting into the right areas in the pitch and just aren't quite able to get over the try line. So, I mean, the shapes are there for us to be able to do that, but whether or not each person's doing their job properly yet, I don't know. We'll watch it back and see exactly why we're not turning that into points.
You've got a core of a team there that you've had for a number of years now, a number of players that played together, but there aren't a few changes. Maurice Clemenson's come in at standoff, looks like a skillful player, good player to come from Australia, but does it sometimes just take a bit of time, particularly when you've got a game controller there at 10, for him to find his feet and for the team to be able to play off him?
Yeah, I think so. He's a really good player. From what we've seen in training and games, he's a really similar player to Aaron. Likes to have the ball in hand, is solid in defence as well, so it does take a wee bit of time to get used to playing off him. The forwards will know what he wants from them, and it will take a few weeks, but we kind of need to make that happen sooner rather than later. Yeah,
and that's been the challenge that you've had, is there has been some good play in all of your games so far. Last week, of course, we were quite shocked to see 5 tries in that first half and been up at half time and then not putting it away in the second half. GHA are not a bad side either, but for you, how is it? How do you turn that? You've been here before, Callum. You know the challenges that face Borders teams, and you've done really well in previous seasons to be able to bounce back from games like that and from runs of a few games that you're not won. How does that come about? How do you make that happen?
I think it's the old heads in the team, people like Ross Nixon, Luke Petty, and people like that. They've been there, done that as well. But I think when you're losing games, and we're losing games by the skin of our teeth, it's just not quite going our way. I think you just need to stick together. That's kind of when you see folk carrying knocks, maybe not turning up to training, not playing games. We just need to make sure the group stays together, and we need as many reps as possible to right the ship. So it'll just take time, but there's so much rugby to be played. We just need to stay positive and just make sure the next game we try and get the win.
And next game,
same again next week.
You've got Melrose at home next week, and it's not next week actually. We've got a break next week, haven't we? And then your next game is there. So is that a good thing, do you think, for you to be able to have that break next week and come back into the league? The following week.
I'll tell you in a fortnight if we win, but it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, but probably more than likely we'll be training this time next week. Just to go through a few more reps together. But Melrose are looking pretty good this season, so I'd imagine it'll be similar to this week. It'll be a bit of a ding-dong game.
But there is something about these border derbies, aren't there, that you do get up for. You could see that the boys were up for that game today, and they really took it to KELSO at times, and KELSO are a decent side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the crowd as well. The crowd feed into that. I'm not sure it has the same effect when we play some of the teams of the city and stuff like that, but there definitely is a bit more to it when you play a border team. You're not afraid to make mistakes, but you're trying. I think certain times in the game you're trying not to risk things that you would in other games, but I think it makes it a good watch for any neutrals.
It was definitely a good watch today, there's no doubt about that, Callum, and it's great to see you back in the team, fully fit again over that injury. I'm pretty sure that you will pick them up. Selkirk have got a habit of doing that and get themselves back, so I wish you well in the next couple of weeks, and hope you do come back firing and we see another cracking border derby against Melrose in a couple of weeks' time.
Perfect, thank you.
Well done,
Cheers,
Callum.
David.
We have got the man of the match today, Will Jones, so we'll hear slightly different dulcet tones from a Borders accent here this afternoon. One of the new players here at KELSO this afternoon, Will Jones, flanker, open side flanker for KELSO. First of all, Will, just on the win today, what's the reaction in the dressing room there to that?
Oh, it's a great win. I think now 3 border derbies home, 3 wins, can't ask for much more, especially going to the break. I think that carries momentum on throughout that.
Yeah, and how you looked like you were enjoying every part of that game today. You were popping up in the line out, you were picking balls off on the ground. maybe not the best kick out of your own 22 later on, but we'll not talk about that. You were all over the pitch today. You're loving your rugby here, Kelso, quite obviously.
Nah, that kick was 70 minutes in. I was knackered with it. That's why I wanted to kick the ball off. No, I'm loving it. I think now I'm slowly getting back into things, and now I'm enjoying the way the boys play rugby up here. And the team ethos here is really good.
Yeah.
That's why that's why I really enjoy about it, and everyone's willing to dog in and fight for the wins. So yeah.
Tell us a little bit briefly about why you're here, how you ended up here at Kelso. You're a boy from Ospreys and Wales territory. Your Wales under-20 involvement, Wales age grade cap, and you've ended up in Kelso.
I know it's far from home, isn't it? My parents hate it because it's so far them to travel to watch me play. But no, I moved up to Durham to do my postgraduate about 5-6 years ago now, and then met my partner up here. I had two little boys. I was playing with Dartmouth for the past 4 years. I was looking to hang my boots up and to say that's enough for me, but I think I'm still a bit too young for that. And Neil got in touch. He wanted me to play a bit of sevens, but I'm a bit too slow for that now, evidently, when I scored that try. But yeah, no, I came up here, saw the sevens tournament, and I sort of liked the club straight away. Enjoyed the boys and enjoyed chatting to the boys, and thought, why not give it a crack?
And you tell me, we were speaking last week and you were saying how much you enjoyed the rugby here being a bit more expansive than what you were used to in England.
Yeah, the boys throw the ball around. It's 80 minutes of running rugby. I don't know what the difference is, but it might not be a set piece focus, but I think it's more enjoyable rugby to play and to watch. I don't know what the fans think of it, but I think we play a good brand of rugby here. We like to play fast. We like to get the ball in play. So yeah, that's why I enjoy it.
Yeah, no doubt. And you seem clearly enjoyed it today. 2 tries. You remember the last time you scored 2 tries in a game?
No, honestly, I don't think I've ever scored 2 tries in a game. I think it was just lucky. Knox was saying to me, he was like, "We better see a try for me today," and I managed to get 2, so I am happy with that.
Yeah, you will be. I mean, that try in the first half was crucial. It brought you back into the game. 5 minutes to go. You'd had a lot of pressure in that first half. You hadn't managed to get the points from it, and then, you got a sucker punch of Josh Welsh scoring a good try for Selkirk, and that try from you 5 minutes from half time brought you back into it. Dwayne's conversion and penalty got you ahead at 10-7 at half time, and then for you to score 4 minutes into the second half, crucial times to score.
Yeah, I think it was important. The wind here is quite strong, and the first half we didn't get the advantage we kind of needed from the wind. So it was, we said in the change it was important that first 10 minutes to get that first score to push that lead a bit further on from them, to get out of touching range, and we executed that quite nicely. We played in the right areas. We took the wind advantage away from them. When you get probably a converted try away, you sort of take that wind away from them. They have to play from depth, they have to play from their own half, play from deep. So I think we'd execute that nicely, and then we sort of saw the game out quite nicely with some good defensive efforts in that late last 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and it was what we call a typical border derby, where it went both sides. You had to work on your attack and your defence. Your defence was under a lot of pressure, but you held firm. You try from yourself, a try from Archie Barber took you to 22-7, and then a try back. They came back with a try from Monroe Job, 22-12. It was close. It was a real battle, but you held on. So, and well done for winning today's Oaken Black Man of the Match award, which is a new one that we've introduced here at Rugby Radio, and you're the first recipient of it today. So well done on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Kelso 22, Selkirk 12.
Thank you very much indeed. Still a few results to come in, but the ones that we have in the Premiership, all in now. Hoyk 21, Heriots 21. So we've had 3 draws today, because Peebles drew and Embrackis drew as well. Kelso 22, Selkirk 12, Melrose 31, Curry 36, and Watsonians 25, Ayr 35. Let's go to Mireside, in fact, and bring in Hugh Brown.
Well, Premiership champions Ayr made it 5 wins out of 5, but by golly, they were pushed all the way. In fact, Watsonians were leading at the break, and just after the restart, they were awarded a penalty by referee Johnny McKenzie, and from 25 metres out, Harry Clark stroked it over to increase their lead to 6. But Ayr got their noses back in front when they emerged from a scrum and found Lewis McNamara, who confidently dropped onto the ball. The 2 points were added to put the men from Millbrae in front. A clever kick forward from 10 metres from the line by Bobby Beattie gave Jamie Shedden the chance to dive onto the ball under the posts for the bonus point try. But the home side came back with the try of the game, a high punt which fullback Andrew McLean latched onto and scored. But there was a final flourish from Ayr, who saw the win wrapped up with a score on the right-hand flag by replacement Scott Watson, which he also converted. So the Bill McLaren Shield goes to Millbrae for the first time since 2018, and Ayr maintain their unbeaten run in the Premiership. Full-time score here at Mireside, was Watsonians 25, Ayr 35.
Let's hear from Ayr's Bobby Beattie.
Bobby, you made it 5 wins out of 5, but a bit like last week, it was a tough match for you.
Yeah, it was. I think that's the thing with Watsonians, though, is that they're always going to come out hard. They've got some big forwards, they play a physical game, but I thought their kicking game was really good as well, really effective, and we just felt like we were pinned in our half for a fair bit, so coming out of that with a win, we're pretty chuffed with that, and yeah, move on to a week off next week, and then I can't remember who we're playing the week after, but we'll just stick into that and it'll be good.
They were in front at half time by 3 points, so did the fact that you were behind mean that you pushed even harder in the second half?
To be honest, for us, a lot of the time we don't, like, you go in at half time, I didn't even really think about the scoreboard. I knew it was tight, but I'm happy just to go into that thinking, right, what's the next job, what do we do next? I think our messages were pretty clear at half time, not much changing, just cleaning up a few things, and I think we went out and executed that quite well in the second half, and some of the tries we scored in the second half were pretty cool, pretty good, so yeah, pretty happy with how we came back in that second half, so yeah, chuffed.
And also, you take back to Millbrae the Bill McLaren Shield.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, I've not had that since I was playing for Hawks. I had it for 1 week, I think. And then that's also the first time I've ever won at Watsonians in my entire life. So pretty good getting the win here against them and getting that Bill McLaren Shield. So now next job, I guess, is to protect it. I think it's 4 games you have to have it for, and then you get your name on it. So that's in the back of our heads now. Look after that shield and then try and keep it for the rest of the year.
There is a very good feeling about Ayr, I think, isn't there? There's a good team spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we get a lot of chat sometimes about, like, a lot of people say about, there's lots of money and stuff at Ayr, but I wish there was. And I think the thing about us is we're actually really good mates off the park, and I think that shows because we really gel well as a team, and we all play for each other and have a beer and stuff after the game, and we're all good pals. So I think that reflects well on us as a club, and the whole club as a whole. Like, they're really good to us, like, as well, like, you know, across the board with the junior sections and the women and the 2s and the 2As. We're all, like, pretty tight as a club, so I think that shows in the way that we play as well. So,
well done today. Have a good break and come back in a couple of weeks.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you.
And then he spoke to Harry Fisher from Watsonians.
Harry, that was a good game, and you certainly give Ayr, a tough match.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we came in today being maybe a wee bit of underdogs. Just after last week against Heriots, we sort of had a run in for the first 3 games, and then the 19-17 loss to Heriots, we sort of knew we had to sort of win that to then pick us up against Ayr. But yeah, a good run in today. Put them down to the wire in the first half, and I think the discipline just let us down in the second half.
Do you think that's what it was? I mean, I was going to ask you what the turning point was.
I think if we favoured the wind and the rain in the first half, it really did help us. A bit of a scrappy game, sort of gave us opportunities, and we took them when they came. Just with the weather conditions in the second half, it maybe favoured them with the wind coming, with them playing with the wind. But yeah, discipline towards that last 10.
Ayr are a very, very strong team, aren't they?
You can say that, very consistent. I think they've held a few players since their Super 6 days, and they've got quite a good cohort and contingent through their first and seconds. And yeah, I think from our team sheet today, you could probably tell there's a few name changes, but we stuck out strong and did very well.
Yes, you missed the likes of Daniel Kelly and Dom Coates, didn't you?
Yeah, and a mix-up in the centre pairings with a back row playing 13, but Stu did very well, Stu Allison that is. But yeah, fared very well with the circumstances.
Sadly, that means you've lost the Bill McLaren Shield as well.
I was unaware of that, unfortunately. Yeah, it is what it is. We held on to it for as long as we could, and yeah, it does. The nature of things, it does change hands.
You've got a week's break then before you regroup for a fortnight's time.
Yeah, a week break. I'm sure we'll stick on it with the training though, and then get against Curry, away at Curry, and hopefully we'll pick up everything and get back on the winning stride.
At least you got 2 tries today.
Yeah, it's nice to get a meat pie times 2. Yeah, it's been a rough start to the season, just on my personal terms, just not getting the opportunity to play. But I think I've made a made a statement for myself today.
You certainly did. Well played, hard lines, and we'll see you in the next few weeks. Thanks, Harry.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, Harry Fisher and Bobby Beattie talking to Hugh Brown. National 1 full-time scores, Biggar 26, Gordonians 24, Boroughmuir 10, Mar 28, Inbrackis 30, Stirling County 30, Gala 52, Jed Forest 38, and Glasgow Accies 41, Musselburgh 14, a full-time result. National 2, Berwick against Highland. We haven't heard anything from that one as yet. Berwick looking for their first win. Falkirk 21, Newton Stewart 29 is a full-time score. GHK 47, Dundee 10, Howe 5 36, Stewmel 52, and Kirkcaldy 29, Peebles 29. I can tell you the table. Don't forget, of course, that in a few minutes' time GHA will be playing Glasgow Hawks at Braidholme in a 5:15 kick-off. But Ayr topped the table tonight, 25 points for them, including the 5 try bonuses. I say GHA currently on 19, so they could go up to 24 if they win that with a bonus point today. Curry on 21, Watsonian 16, Kelso 13, Melrose 9, Hoyk 7, Heriot 7, and Selkirk still with the 4 points there. And Glasgow Hawks currently on 6. That could change after today's match. Let's go to Mansfield Park then. Alan Lorimer, he was at Mansfield Park today. It was Hoyk against Heriot. It ended all square.
Final score at Mansfield Park, Hoyk 21, Heriot 21. Yes, what a dramatic finish here with Hoyk levelling the scores right at the death with a penalty try that squared the game. I think Hoyk will be certainly very pleased to have got these 2 championship points, and of course that keeps them above Heriot's in the championship table. Heriot's scored early in the game with tries from Henry Kesterton and Max Wallace. Fraser Rennick scoring for Hoyk in the first half. Then the second half, Noah Sakapaji looked to be taking Heriot's clear away, but then Nicky Little crossed for Heriot's, and right at the end a penalty try. So final score at Mansfield Park, Hoyk 21, Heriot's 21.
Well, Ian Hurd has been following the big match at the Greenyards today in the Premiership. It was Melrose against Curry Chieftains, another big scoring affair. Ian Hurd brings us this report.
Full time here at the Greenyards, it's Melrose 31, Curry 36. A fantastic game of open rugby was only decided in the last couple of minutes when Curry took the lead for the final time. Melrose started the second half positively, but it was total confusion at the back of a ruck that led to their first try. The ball finished up in the hands of standoff Rowan Frostwick, who found a gaping hole in the Curry defence to race clear from 20 metres. Further Melrose possession looked like it could reap rewards, but a loose pass was intercepted by the big Curry lock Dan Halcon, who showed the Melrose backline a clean pair of heels to sprint in from halfway. Curry's number 8, Ed Hasdall, then made a clean break from the halfway line, and Curry were able to go through the phases to allow Lock Rhys Davis to barge over, and the try was converted by Alex Harley. Then with 15 minutes gone of the second half, substitute hooker Alex Maxwell was red carded, apparently for a high tackle. This spurred on the home team, and another driving maul saw number 8 Sam Derrick get the touchdown. Curry came back into it, and a strong carry from Rhys Davis allowed Curry to work the ball to wing Fraser Sayers, who ghosted through a gap, then turned on the afterburners to round the last defender and score in the corner. Curry were now in the ascendancy, and another series of drives led to replacement prop Gregor Skugel being driven over to score. The drama wasn't finished, however, and well into injury time, Rue Campbell, the Melrose number 8, broke clear and was only 2 metres away from the Curry line when he was dragged down by a desperate Curry defence, and a turnover penalty was awarded. Curry took the tap and booted the ball onto St Mary's Road to end the game. A cracking game of rugby enjoyed by all here at the Greenyards. Final score, Melrose 31, Curry 36.
Well, Sam Matthews enjoyed a very good game at Netherdale, high scoring as well. Gala 52, Jed Forest 38. Afterwards he spoke to Cammy Bryden, and first Gary Young from Jed Forest.
Gary, obviously 2 tries for yourself is a cap on a personal performance, but unfortunately just not the result you wanted today.
Yeah, it's definitely the result that we were looking to get today. I think first half, it's always the same. 2 teams are trying to sort of get a foothold in it, and yeah, it was tight. But I think Gala were getting a lot of joy out wide, and they exploited us a few times out there. But yeah, up front I thought we stuck in well, but again, yeah, as I say, let the game get away from us in the second half, and just left ourselves a bit too big a mountain to climb, really.
You mentioned that, obviously, being a forward, as you'll know, as a number 8, it's a tough war of attrition. 19-17 at half-time to Gala. You said it was very much their backs versus your forwards to get points on the board, yourself on the score sheet in both halves. But how tough is it to try and get a full 80 minutes performance in a National 1 and a Borders derby?
Yeah, look, I don't think anyone that's played in the Borders derby knows there's nothing you have to do to get up for it. It's just in the blood of a Border person, you know. But yeah, stringing together an 8-minute performance is something that this season we've proved to be difficult for us. We do put a lot of emphasis on it every week, trying to just, what are we doing what do we need to do coming out at half time to just start the game as we left it at the 40-minute mark. So yeah, I mean, we're building again a lot of young boys in this team. We've came through a sort of real transition at Jed, new coaching staff and a lot of new guys. So yeah, look, we just have to every week look to points that we can improve, worry about things that we can control, and yeah, as I say, just every week we have to improve on what we've done the week before.
And like you say, it's a case of improvement. It might not be in the result you got today, but 5 tries in the Borders derby is something to really build on. You had a big points tally last week, so is it a case for the side to be like, we know we can win, it's just maybe a case of, instead of doing 7 out of 10s, it's getting that final 8 or 9, 10 out of 10 performance?
Oh yeah, I mean 100%. Look, we showed last week that we can put it to a Boroughmuir side that's had a really good start to the season. I have absolutely no doubt in the ability of the boys in this team. We've got some absolute cracking players in there right through the board, from the experienced guys to the guys that have just come up out of the under-18s. So there's absolutely no lack of rugby or no lack of ability. As I say, it's maybe a confidence thing. Guys just needing to back themselves a little bit more, and that's something we're all working on as a team. I mean, we've got some cracking guys coaching now: Mike Harshaw, Donald Grieve, Neil Cook, these guys in there, Gary Hill. So, and everyone's looking for the same goal as well, and it's bringing on rugby players and creating a good atmosphere down at Jed, building that confidence and just growing as players through the season, really.
Well, best luck with the rest of the season, Gary. Cheers for talking to me.
And he also spoke to Cameron Bryden from Gala.
Well, Cammy, braw lad with a braw performance. How does that feel? Best part of 13 tries, 90 points total, but most importantly, 5 points for Gala in the league table.
Oh, it's unbelievable after especially the last 3 results we've had. Stirling last year put quite a lot of points on us, so to get a result today in front of the home fans is very special. Credit to Jed, they're a great team, but we stuck in right till the end, even though when they came back at the end, we managed to put plenty of points past them today, with especially such a young squad. So hopefully from here we just keep growing and growing, get boys back from injury, and see what the rest of the season has to offer.
And exactly like you said, a young team, obviously yourself, Niven, in the first half especially, I noticed you guys were playing pretty much playmaker roles. You didn't have a set place, it was wherever you could find work in the back line, you'd get in there. How much is having a coaching team like you and Robbie, like Ross Ford, obviously Craig Dodds as well, kicking coach, doing jobs for you, but how good is it for them to instill that belief in a young squad?
I think it's great that they have such trust in us young boys. The structure they give us is open play, get the ball wide, have a bit of fun on the edge, and then obviously use the forwards at times, but when backs like Marcel and that get the ball, we just want to run forward and hopefully make something special out of it. So, but credit to the forwards today, they stuck in deep.
And now lastly, that's your first win of the season. Obviously you got your first try bonus point last week, you make up for it with the best part of 9 tries. How good does it feel to get a certain collection of tries, but also how important is that to then take it forward as a momentum builder?
I think it just builds confidence with a team that we can actually score tries. Like past results, we've not really scored many, but today we put quite a lot over the try line, so hopefully weeks to come we believe in ourselves a lot more and hopefully score some more tries.
Congratulations on the win, Cam. Thank you very much for joining me.
Cheers.
Fantastic comeback there from Gala, winning the points there at Netherdale. Well, that's it for today. Closing headlines in the Premiership. There were wins for Kelso, Curry and Ayr. It was a draw at Mansfield Park between Hawick and Heriots, and of course GHA will take on Glasgow Hawks in about 5 minutes time. In National 1 the winners were Biggar, Mar, Gala and Glasgow Accies, and a draw at Raeburn Place between Edinburgh Accies and Stirling, so they remain unbeaten. In National 2 the 5 winners were Highland, Newton Stewart, GHK, Stumel, and a draw at Kirkcaldy between Kirkcaldy and Peebles. Full results and tables will be up at rugbyradio.co.uk and bordersrugby.net as soon as possible. My thanks to the team today: David Ferguson, Scott Tomlinson, Ian Hurd, Hugh Brown, Alan Lorimer, Sam Matthews, Kelly Riddle, Rebecca Lindsay, Barbara Shield, Vicky Shiragib and Colin Black. Borders Rugby TV highlights of Gala v Jed Forest, if we can fit all the tries in, will be online later tonight at our website at bordersrugby.net, and also on ITV on Monday at 6:15 on ITV News. Don't forget our Scottish Club Rugby Roundup podcast after 7 p.m. tonight. That will be online. But for now, from me and the team, a very good night.